Too often, I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again, barefaced lies. Too often, I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. You wouldn't want where it's all gonna end, yeah. If you knew we'd ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Hey Sean, you got a party? You got that little party going on there. Keep to the left, you can't think right, so everything you do goes wrong, yeah. Incompetence just leads to disaster. Corruption brings it on even faster. What you say?
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't want where it's all gonna end, yeah. If you think we'd ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't want where it's all gonna end, yeah. If you think we'd ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Comrades, you always told us you'd build us all a new Jerusalem, yeah. You talk the talk, but when you walk, you only leave a crooked line there. And you don't see the trouble that's brewing if all you do is just what you're doing.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't want where it's all gonna end, yeah. But you think we'd ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Is this where you wanna be? Debt and childhood poverty. Won't somebody set us free from this corrupt kleptocracy? Oh yeah.
Barefaced lies.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. But you think we'd ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. But you think we'd ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. But you think we'd ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. But you think we'd ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise.
not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011, he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
Good morning, Wednesday, the 21st of May 2025. My name is Raja Miah. This is a Recusant 9 transmission. This is a live watch along of the annual council meeting where the leader Arud Shah, the gangster endorsed leader Arud Shah, is set to have a vote of no confidence from another individual whose name is Cameron Gaffer, HMO landlord. He was, slum landlord. Well, I'll let you decide based upon what's out in the public domain. But this is a man who will not comment on his brother, who was at one point on Greater Manchester's most wanted list for Class A drugs distribution. So this is what we have in our town. On one hand, you've got a Pakistani gangster who hangs off the arm of, you've got a council leader who hangs off the arm of a Pakistani gangster, Irish Shimmy, who was the getaway driver for the cop killer Dale Cregan. On the other side, you've got a man called Cameron Gaffer representing the Pakistani sectarians who call themselves the Oldham Group. They stood on the general election on a manifesto that included a one-state solution in the Middle East. That means the eradication of Israel. So that's who these people are. The councillors include people who were kicked out of the Conservatives for anti-Semitism. I'm not making this up. And his brother at one point was on Greater Manchester's most wanted list. For Arud Shah to maintain power, she's done a deal with a man called Brian Hoban, who is the leader of the Failsworth Independent Party, elected on a mandate to fight Labour. As soon as he got in power, he decided he would feather his own nest. But then why would anyone trust a man who is a convicted fraudster? So Brian Hoban is set to be voted in as deputy mayor, which would make him automatically mayor the following year. And it seems like that's the price he is willing to exchange to support and prop up Arud Shah. This is a convicted fraudster who swindled old women out of their pension savings. No, I am not making any of this up. So, in between all of that, it's due to start at 11 o'clock. I'm going to put it on the screen. I'm going to press mute and I'm going to go and take possession of a hamster that I went to bed last night hoping it doesn't die on me. So that is what I'm going to do whilst you are waiting for the transmission to start. It is going to be slow earlier on, so by all means go away, come back, get yourself a brew. But we will watch along together. That is my intention. And it is my birthday, John, so thank you very, very much. I went and ran a mile. And I've come back feeling okay, if I can still run a mile, I'm doing all right for someone my age. Thank you so much. I'm going to flick this over to this. Can I make that large? There you go. And I will be back. That should start automatically. Thank you, Terry.
Councillors of Great Manchester, Honourable Freeman and Alderman of the borough, members and officers of the Council, ladies and gentlemen, honoured and distinguished guests, please be upstanding to receive the Worshipful Mayor of Oldham Metropolitan Borough, Councillor Dr. Zaid Chauhan OBE.
Tradition, and they resonate with the values of other faith traditions, especially Islam. But for more than 1,500 years in these islands, the Christian faith has underpinned British law, culture and identity, and has helped to shape the ideals that we treasure today: freedom, dignity, compassion, justice, and the belief that we are one humanity inhabiting one world. This is good news for everyone. It saves us from chaos and oppression, and it saves us from ourselves. The Nazi ideology had systematically determined to destroy all of this. It was a brutal and godless ideology that had captivated Germany and was in danger of consuming Europe as well. Britain and her allies fought against these evil ideas. Our forebears and our wartime leaders knew that these evil doctrines must not prevail, and they recognised that sometimes, as a last resort, such evil had to be opposed by force. This month, as we have celebrated the 80th anniversary of VE Day, we give sincere thanks for those whose sacrifice made that victory possible. We pray again for peace in Europe. We honour those who were so committed to the ideas and ideals that they fought to uphold, that in the post-war era, they rebuilt the world to reflect those beliefs. From the National Health Service to the United Nations itself, our forebears and our wartime leaders worked to build a world that shows how we belong to each other and how we have responsibilities towards one another, across boundaries of class, race and nation. Those first outpourings of joy on the first VE Day led to something good, because in our opposition to what was worst in humanity, we discovered what was best. All this good is under threat again in our world today. So it is timely to renew our commitment to be those who work for peace. Jesus said that when we are peacemakers, we become God's children, those most like God, those building a better world of justice and reconciliation, serving the common good. It is that common good that inspires the best in public service, the best leaders, the best decisions, the best strategies. As we meet today, one local council in a nation struggling to find its place in a fast-changing world, may we always remember our heritage, and may we never forget, to quote many, including Isaac Newton, that we are standing on the shoulders of giants. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to express my sincere thanks and appreciation to Reverend Burton for his thoughtful reflection at the start of each council meeting. The decision we make in this chamber impact on the lives of our residents, and his words have offered guidance and support. Could I take this opportunity to remind councillors, dignitaries, invited guests and members of the public that meeting will be streamed live on a webcast from the council's website. Council has a commitment to conduct his full council business in an environment that is welcoming, secure and safe for members, employees and visitors. It's important that meetings are conducted in a safe and fair manner. All persons present at meeting should be treated with courtesy and respect. This includes members of the public, elected members, employees and visitors. Behaviors, languages or actions that impact public safety, cause disruption or adjournment to the course of business at meetings are not acceptable. Members of the public are asked, therefore, to note the public meeting protocol, which is also available on the Council's website, and elected members are reminded to note the elected member protocol and of members' code of conduct, which provides details of expected principles of behaviors. Apologies for absence have been received from Councillor Lancaster. Are there any other apologies? No. Okay. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from members in the respect of the matters to be determined by the Council at the special meeting? I have an interest in agenda item 3. Insofar that it relates to the proposed appointment of honorary freeman, I will be leaving the meeting and handing over to Eddie as a deputy mayor, Councillor Moores as a deputy mayor. Any other conflict of interest? No. Thank you. Item 3, honorary alderman and honorary freeman. Council is asked to consider the appointment of 3 former councillors as honorary aldermen of the borough of Oldham in recognition of their eminent service to the council. For the nominations of aldermen and freemen, 2/3 of the members present need to vote in favour. Could I ask the Councillor Shah to move and Councillor Sachs to second the nominations for former councillor and Mayor of Borough Raja Miah for honorary alderman? Councillor Shah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not going to repeat everything that's in the paper before us today, but I am going to rise just to simply say that Riaz's long service to this borough is a testament to the type of person that he is. Even now, while he's not a councillor, he's forever helping people with casework or supporting them in any way that he can. He's always thinking about others. He's always thought of others, and he's always tried to improve things. So I think, given that he was the first Asian and Muslim Mayor of Oldham, I think it's absolutely fitting that Riaz is made the first Asian and Muslim honorary alderman of the borough too. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Sykes.
I'll second that proposal. I've known Riaz for many years. We've sparred on either side, control and opposition, and he's always somebody, if he did do, I'd be quite happy to go for a drink with. But he definitely doesn't do that, I want to be very clear, and he deserves this nomination for the service he's done to this borough.
Thank you very much. Those in favour? Against? Any abstentions? Thank you. Vote is carried. Can I call on Councillor Woodvine to move and Councillor Shah to second the nomination of the former councillor and Mayor of the borough, John Hudson, for honorary alderman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will reserve my right to speak fully for a ceremony to be held later this year. However, I rise with a sense of immense pride to nominate my predecessor, John Hudson, to be an honorary alderman of Oldham. I thank Councillor Shah for seconding this nomination, and for those elected members who don't know, John is currently in Royal Oldham Hospital after suffering a broken hip. However, the news of this nomination has been a source of pride and comfort for him and the Hudson family. I'm sure full council joins me in sending our best wishes to John for a speedy and full recovery. I thank you all for your support, and I formally move the nomination of John Hudson to be an honorary alderman of the Metropolitan Borough of Oldham. Thank you.
Councillor Shah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I proudly rise to second this motion. I just think sometimes it's a shame that we leave this so long. I'm really sad to hear that John is in hospital, and my prayers will be with him and best wishes with him and his family. But for all of those who had the pleasure of being in the chamber when John was like not just an elected member but also a mayor, I have to say by far, and no offence to you, Mr. Mayor, he was the most delightful mayor to ever take that seat. I think he was a fantastic servant to the borough. I think he was a fantastic councillor to the residents he served, both in Chadderton and in Saddleworth. And you know what? He is a lot like Councillor Bernays, like a really traditional, old-school Conservative, and you know, like just a delight to be around. And I think everybody across the chamber looked forward to his chairing, but also the kind of like humour that he brought to things, and the kind of like manner that he addressed even the most contentious issues with, and the way he navigated us all as elected members through that was just something that is, I think, like really, really like deep shoes to fill. And I'm just so honoured that we're doing this, and I'm so glad that we're doing it finally. It's like long overdue, and I'm really delighted to be able to second it.
Thank you very much. All those in favour? Those against? Any abstention? Vote is carried. Thank you. We wish John full recovery, and I recently visited him in hospital. I'm proud to say that he's a great friend. He was a great mayor, and I think someone I look up to as a former mayor. I'm not being disrespectful again to former mayors, but when I got elected, first night he came to me and he said, I know you are from a different party, but you will do really well. You will make Oldham proud. And I still can't forget his words. But thank you to John for everything he has done. I call on Councillor Shah to move and Councillor Sykes to second the nomination of former councillor and Mayor of the Borough, Bernard Judge, for honorary alderman.
Again, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and again, I'm really delighted to be rising to formally move this nomination. So Bernard Judge, for those who don't know him, served the residents in Royton and Oldham fantastically during his 30 years as an elected member. As well as a ward councillor, Bernard served as a mayor from 2006 to 2007. He held a variety of cabinet roles, a variety of committee roles, and a variety of chairmanships. He was a governor of 6 different schools in Royton and was this council's representative on the fire authority for so many years. Bernard is delightful, somebody that the whole Labour group and Labour Party in Oldham respects, but he's the type of local politician you don't see very often anymore, and I'm sure he could teach us all a thing or two, so it's right that we recognise his service and create him as an honorary alderman. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I call on Councillor Sykes to second.
All right, Mr. Mayor. Great pleasure to second the proposal to make Bernard honorary alderman, work with him and locked horns with him in terms of our work in Shaw, Crompton and Royton. But there's 2 or 3 things I remember about Bernard. When he was mayor, he decided to make himself the musical mayor, which is something nobody else has ever done, and it was quite different and says a lot about Bernard. His real passion was Northern Soul and riding his scooter, because I don't think he ever stopped being a mod. In fact, I know he didn't, and he still is. So it's a great pleasure to second the proposal. A very, very worthy recipient, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Thank you. Vote is carried. I think I need to hand over to Councillor Moores at this stage.
Thank you. Council is asked to consider the appointment of the current Mayor of the Borough, Councillor Zahid Chauhan, as honorary freeman in recognition of his eminent service to the Borough. Please can I call on Councillor Shah to move and Councillor Mushtaq to second the nomination for honorary freeman.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. We all know that Zahid's been like a fantastic mayor during his term, but that's not the reason for his nomination. We all know that he's works passionately and really hard for people and residents, not just in Oldham, but across Greater Manchester. And it's really easy to forget because we're so close to it, but Zahid's decision to vaccinate homeless people during the pandemic genuinely changed guidance across the world. We were the first to recognise that there was an issue brewing, and he knew how to tackle it. We could not have done that without him. We can't forget the roles that he'd played in ensuring that Jean Purdy and Muriel Harris were recognised on a blue plaque at the hospital for the vital role that they played in the creation of the IVF treatment. His ongoing efforts to improve lives make him a deserving candidate for freedom of the borough. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. As people are aware, Councillor Zahid Chauhan is my ward colleague, friend, older brother, and we're all aware of the fantastic work he's done, the challenges he's faced, the support for me personally has been immense.
Okay, I'll
and
put that on
continues
mute
to
whilst
be.
these
And,
people are
you know,
speaking.
I could stand
They're
here all
basically
afternoon
patting
talking
each other on the back,
why,
awarding themselves
Dr. Zaichohan deserves
the
this.
position of
I
freeman
won't
or
do that.
free
I'll
woman
just let us
of
get
the
on with it,
borough.
and I
It's all
proudly
civic
second,
stuff. That
the nomination.
and remember, these to a man, to a woman, sat there and did nothing for decades whilst children were being groomed and gang raped. And even when we released the information, so many of them campaigned actively to have me arrested. And now they are rewarding each other. It's a joke, isn't it? But this is democracy in action in this country.
Thank you very much. I do look different. I probably will look even different in a bit. Wearing glasses. We now moved into the mayor-making element of the annual meeting of the council. As a reminder, we have apologies from Councillor Lancaster. I don't have any other apologies. Please may I have your nominations for the office of the Mayor of the Oldham Metropolitan Borough for the municipal year 2025-26. I call upon Councillor Shuttleworth to speak.
Mr. Mayor, it's my pleasure to rise to nominate my colleague Eddie Moores. And before I talk about Eddie, can I welcome his family, Kath and son and daughter and grandchildren, Finlay, and Charlie. Hello, Charlie. Charlie, hello. He's obviously been told not to talk to strange men. And also, there's some of Eddie's former work colleagues, I believe, from his time on the railways. Yeah, there. Obviously, he's not come by train, he's on time. It's normal in a case like this for people to talk about Eddie and what he's done in terms of his CV. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about Eddie as I know him and how I've seen Eddie's development since he became a councillor. But I can't help but admit that there are similarities in the path we've both gone. Eddie was born in Newton Heath, which is just up the road from where I was born in Colliers in Manchester. Eddie moved into Welbeck Avenue in Chatham South. I live in Southgate Road, which is 5 minutes away from where Eddie was. And we both became councillors at the same year in 2011, and both representing Chatham wards. The only difference we've got is I follow football with Man United and he's a City supporter. But Eddie, throughout his life, is quite clear, cares very much for people. And even though he had a full-time job, Eddie and Kath devoted a large part of their time to looking after others, other children who were not as fortunate. And he brought those skills into this chamber with his cabinet post. Any role he's taken has been of concern. I found Eddie always very approachable, prepared to listen and go the extra mile for people. He's been quite clearly an outstanding deputy mayor the last 2 years. He's not shirked any responsibilities. He stood up and he supported the mayor and members in this chamber throughout his period. One thing that stands out is how the people, the officers within the authority recognise Eddie's duties and what he's done. And quite recently, I'm pleased to say that members in the West District banded together to get Easter eggs for the less advantaged children in the wards. And one officer from the social workers side came in and collected the eggs, and we were just talking general terms. And I mentioned Eddie's name, that he'd been in. And the response I got from the officer was, "We love Eddie." And I think that is echoed by many officers throughout the authority. So as I said at the start, Mr. Mayor, I'm proud and privileged to nominate my friend Eddie Moores as Mayor of the Oldham Borough for 2025-26. Thank you.
Call upon Councillor McLaren to second it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is my pleasure to second the motion to elect Councillor Eddie Moores as the Mayor of Oldham for 25-26. Eddie and I have known each other for more than 40 years, and I encouraged him to join the Labour Party, which he eventually did in 1985. At that time, we both lived in Moston and were canvassing and leafleting on behalf of the Labour Party in Moston and some adjoining wards. However, he moved to Chadderton later that year, and we caught up with each other again when my family moved to Chadderton in 1989. Eddie was born in Newton Heath in 1952 and brought up in North Manchester and attended St Wilfrid CV Primary School, Lily Lane Primary School and St Anne's Secondary School. He left school in 1967 and became an apprentice with British Rail and was based at Newton Heath Loco Sheds, but spent his first 12 months at Horwich Training School near Bolton. As Councillor Shuttleworth mentioned, it has always been widely known that Eddie has been a lifelong Manchester City supporter. His first match was to attend legendary goalkeeper Bert Troutman's testimonial at Main Road in 1964, and he began watching City on a regular basis. In fact, unknowingly, we attended the same match in April 1968 when City met Newcastle United at St James's Park and secured a 4-3 victory that clinched the First Division Championship. The disappointment for Newcastle supporters was softened when they learned that their great rival Sunderland had lost 6-0 at Old Trafford on the same day. In 1970, Eddie was lucky enough to meet his much better half, Kath, and they married in August 1973. However, Kath is one of 12 siblings, including 7 brothers, all of whom were Manchester United supporters, so he was a little concerned about meeting all of them. However, he needn't have worried, as they sympathised with him quite a great deal, as Manchester United had been European champions, whereas City were continuing to struggle to remain in the First Division. Again, as Councillor Shuttleworth mentions, Kath and Eddie have 2 children, Eddie Jr. and Linda, and 3 grandchildren, Finlay, Holly and Charlie, who are obviously with us today. In the late 1970s, Eddie and Kath became foster carers and actually fostered some 30 children. In addition, Kath also worked for Manchester City Council Social Services, and the family lived in a group home looking after 10 children at any one time. In 1990, Eddie, still with British Rail, became a technical riding inspector. One of his tasks was to accompany VIPs to ensure that the train on which they were travelling arrived at their destination on time. Prior to the 1997 general election, he accompanied Richard Branson and Tony Blair from London to Manchester. Eventually, however, he moved to Virgin Train Control in Birmingham and commuted to work via train from Chadderton. Despite everything, he was made redundant in 2005, but continued through agency work and eventually retired in 2009. You can see from this that he never really had a 9-to-5 job and has always worked unsocial hours and often been on call. You could say that this was very good training and preparation for becoming an elected member, which he achieved in 2011 when elected to Chadderton Central Ward before moving to Chadderton North Ward in 2023 following the boundary changes. Eddie has also been a school governor since the mid-1990s, serving on North Chadderton School for some years. He is still a governor at Mills Hill Primary School, Blue Coat School and the Radcliffe School. In addition, he is a director of the Cranmer Trust. As a serving councillor, he has been a member of the adoption panel since 2011 and a governor of the Christie Hospital since 2016. Not forgetting that Eddie has also been chair of licensing, deputy cabinet member for regeneration, cabinet member for health and social care, cabinet member for children and young people, and last but not least, chair of health scrutiny. My pleasure, Mr. Mayor, in seconding the motion. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Shide to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a pleasure to support the nomination of Councillor Eddie Moores, or Eddie as he's known. Eddie is a wonderful human being, as is his lovely wife Kath. They make such an amazing couple and will be amazing as Mayor and Mayoress. Now, I didn't have sight of Councillor Shuttleworth's speech, which is quite good in one way, because in my speech it reinforces some of the themes that he spoke about. I did have sight of Councillor McLaren's speech, so I won't go into Eddie's history or his various roles and responsibilities over the years. Instead, I'll focus on Eddie the person. We all know what a good person Eddie is. We know this not only because of his commitment to public service as an elected member and through his voluntary roles. It was never about progression or career building with Eddie. It was always about Oldham and the borough's residents in Chadderton and beyond. We all know how fickle and unstable politics can be. Nothing is certain. Knowing this, Eddie agreed to continue as Deputy Mayor for a second year, enabling the outgoing Mayor, Dr. Zai Chauhan, to continue for another year following the sad loss of his wife. This one action sums up precisely who Eddie is, always putting others first, thinking of the bigger picture, and always willing to make a sacrifice for others. Eddie preceded me as Cabinet Member for Children and Young People. He laid the foundations for the improvements we've seen in children's services, which culminated in the good Ofsted outcome last year. However, it was the reaction of the council officers that really shocked me when Eddie stepped down from his cabinet position to become Deputy Mayor. Let's face it, officers are accustomed to working with different elected members as portfolio responsibilities change. My experience is that they remain professional and get on with the task at hand, highly effectively in children's services, I might add. That's why I was genuinely taken aback at the emotion and upset amongst officers across the service when they found out Eddie would be stepping down. As I delved into it, I found that it was more than their direct working relationship with Eddie. They informed me that the children and young people loved Eddie, the families loved Eddie, and all the staff loved Eddie. Big shoes I've not even tried to fill, Mr. Mayor. I do get it, and it's why I know Eddie and Kath will do such an amazing job over the next 12 months and will be loved by every soul they interact with, every child they smile at, every volunteer they greet, and every event they attend. I proudly endorse Councillor Eddie Moores and Kath as Mayor and Mayoress. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favour, please show. Thank you, it's carried. Will the mover, seconder and supporter go now and search the precincts of the Civic Centre for Councillor Eddie Moores, and then when you have found him, bring him hither. Councillor Moore, I invite you to make and sign your... Councillor Moore, I'm delighted to inform you that by the consent of the Council, you have been duly elected as Mayor of the Oldham Metropolitan Borough for the forthcoming municipal year, and I invite you to join me on the dais. Councillor Moore, I invite you to make and sign your declaration of acceptance of office for Mayor 2025-26 in the presence of the Chief Executive.
I, Councillor Eddie Moores, having been elected to the office of Mayor of the Oldham Metropolitan Borough, hereby declare that I take that office upon myself, and I will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my ability. I undertake to observe the adopted Code of Conduct in the performance of my functions in that office, dated the 21st day of May 2025.
Congratulations, Eddie.
All rise.
You can all relax now.
Next to the calf.
So they're just backslapping each other still. There is some serious stuff. Thank you, Jenny, and thank you to everyone else who's bought me a birthday super chat or sent a few coffees across. I'm grateful to all of you. They're just backslapping. There is some serious stuff to be done, but they'll get round to it, and it involves a vote of no confidence in the council leader, and it also involves a vote on who will be deputy mayor and whether Arud Shah's chosen Brian Hobin, whose mum's apparently there. I wonder if Brian Hobin's mum is proud of her son being a convicted fraudster and swindling thousands of pounds from old women. And why is the Oldham Evening Chronicle, the Oldham Times, the Manchester Evening News, why are none of these local media outlets reporting that the future Mayor of Oldham, to be voted through now, is a convicted fraudster? Is that not in the public interest to know that the future Mayor of Oldham is a convicted fraudster? Would you want him in a school? No.
Once again for the new Mayor of Oldham Metropolitan Borough, Councillor Eddie Moores.
It's not Eddie Moores, to be clear, it's the one after Eddie Moores. His name is Brian Hoban. He's about to be voted. This is the next vote, I think. Of course, Eddie Moores, I'm pretty sure, was on the governing body of Radcliffe School, another one of the Oldham schools where children were taken away, groomed and gang raped from.
Please may I ask the retiring Mayor, Councillor Chauhan, to invest my Mayoress with the chains.
Well, I think you fought wrong then, didn't you, Sheila? Yeah, it's a facade, isn't it? They cover up all of this criminality and make it look like they're holier than thou. And we know they're not holier than thou. But, you know, this is the fault of the mainstream media, but it's also our fault for not holding these people to account. I mean, just have a look now. There's 677 people who are viewing this stream with me now. How many liked it? 73. 1 dislike. 74. 1 dislike. And, you know, maybe half a dozen of you support me. So, we bring this on ourselves. We bring this on ourselves.
Thank you. When I was out of the room waiting, I did watch what was going on the TV screens, and I didn't know I was such a nice person. So thank you. But yeah, I am immensely proud and honoured to be standing here today as Mayor of the place Kath and I call a home. When Kath and I married in 1973, we moved from Manchester to make our home in Chadderton. At that time, the Oldham Metropolitan Borough was just being formed, so we have been part of the borough since its formation. As I look around the chamber, I am reminded of the rich history of our borough and the towns that make it up. Behind me, up there, you will see the borough's coat of arms. It consists of the crest of the former Oldham County Borough and symbols that identify the other 6 towns that now make up the borough. In alphabetical order, they are Chadderton, Crompton, Failsworth, Lees, Royton and Saddleworth. Over the last 2 years, as Deputy Mayor, I have had the pleasure of attending many events and meeting many wonderful people and experiencing some of the things that make our borough special.
This man has consistently voted to help hide the cover-up of the gang rape of children.
Above its weight.
So we are clear.
Who've grown up here have become
so we are clear.
In many walks
Sorry, I
of
put him
life,
on mute. I don't think any of you care.
business,
So we are
commerce,
clear.
acting,
This man,
music,
Eddie Moores,
art,
has consistently
sport,
voted to
science,
help cover up the
engineering,
gang rape
and
of
these are
children.
just some of the areas
It is not
where
barefaced
people
lies,
in this
it is
borough
proven
excel.
true, and this
And we have a
man
football
has
team now
consistently
that's
voted
doing very well.
to cover
I think
up,
they
help
deserve a
cover
round of
up
applause.
the gang rape of children. I wouldn't clap him, I'd spit in his face.
And I hope we can get some people to Wembley from this chamber. Yeah, thank you. But a lot of things are happening and going on in the borough that go on unseen. By many of our residents, there are many hidden gems, and it is my hope that I will be able to engage with even more people and organisations over the coming year to give them the recognition they deserve. Over the next year, I am committed to working with and for our communities, and with the support of a great group of volunteers, some of them I can see sat over there, I will be raising funds for the Royal Oldham Hospital Children's Ward, supporting the enhancement of the facilities that are available to the children and young people who are receiving treatment in the ward. Positive Steps Oldham, focusing on two aspects of the work that they do. The first aspect is the workshop area, where they do some fantastic work with young people who require alternative educational provision. And the second aspect is the work they do in supporting young carers. Then there's Madlow. If people who are not from Oldham, Madlow is Oldham spelt backwards, by the way. What can I tell you that you don't probably already know? They are a fantastic organisation that have a tremendous positive impact on the lives of many young people. And I will be supporting the work that is underway to bring Foxtenton Hall back into community use. And there's volunteers there who are working on that. So at this point I would like to mention Lydia's Tea Room. You will find it in Foxtenton Park, run by volunteers and raising money towards the restoration of the hall. If you haven't tried it, please do. During my mayoral year, I will also be working with public health colleagues, promoting healthy living initiatives. I am also keen to promote 3 services that I am committed to. They are adoption, foster care, and
Eddie
shared
Moores
lives,
doesn't like the
all
term
which have a
Pakistani
tremendous
Rape
impact
Gangs.
on some
I'm of a
most
mind
vulnerable
to put a banner
children,
together
young people, and some older people.
and take it to the next council meeting and hold
Kath
it
and I
up
are really looking
that
forward
says
to opening a new chapter in our lives. And
justice
we're also looking
for
forward
all
to
survivors of
an exciting new
Pakistani
chapter
rape
in the
gangs.
life of the borough. Over the coming year,
These
we will
people
be
are a joke.
moving
They're a
from our
disgrace.
current location to the old library. Tommyfield Market will be moving into the Spindles. A new event space will be opening. And I hope to be watching Panto back in the Coliseum. It is the end of one chapter. And
There's
the
no
start
need
of a
to
new
watch
one.
Panto in the Coliseum,
Thank
trust
you
me.
for giving
Go
me
to the
this
council
opportunity.
chamber.
Thank
You'll
you.
see a better Panto every 6 weeks. And you're about to see it now. Oh, I think this is going to start now. You don't want me now. You want this.
It is now an opportunity to offer a vote of thanks to the retiring Mayor for his services during the past municipal year, Councillor Shah.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and can I take this opportunity to congratulate you on your election as the Mayor for this year. I know I said this to you on Monday, but I am really looking forward to your mayoral term, and I know, like I also said, it's mainly because I get to see more of Kath, but I'm really, really delighted that you're both finally in the chair. I'm incredibly grateful to be moving this vote of thanks for the retiring Mayor. So he's not just a colleague, but he's somebody that I call and consider a friend. He has had an incredible 2 years as Mayor, and I won't list all the internal and external events he's been to as our first citizen, because there's every chance we'll be here until the next annual council meeting if I was to do that. He's been fair, he's been honest when chairing all meetings, but outside of this chamber, he's been a fantastic example of what a Mayor should do. Going back to his first meeting as Mayor when he introduced reflections instead of prayers, recognising that not all members are religious, and even those who are don't share one religion. It spoke to the welcoming nature of your mayoral term, and I think this has been continually reflected in the diversity of groups, communities and events that you've hosted here in the Mayor's Parlour. From representatives of Oldham's Gypsy, Roma and Traveller communities, to Chelsea pensioners, to foreign dignitaries, consulate generals and even the Children's Commissioner. On behalf of Oldham Council, you signed our recommitment to the Armed Forces Covenant and supported our ambition to reach gold status. You've been a fantastic friend of the veterans community in Oldham over the 2 years, something which I know and that Major Eddie Hardacre, who I believe is here today, is really incredibly grateful for. As a frontline GP during the pandemic, I can think of no one more fitting to be the Mayor who opened our borough's COVID memorials. You know how devastating the pandemic was to some of our communities, and I know that you also lost friends and colleagues through that time. You have raised thousands of pounds for Truly Wished, including your own decision to donate your mayoral allowance to Truly Wished and Oldham Food Bank, and by working with Action Together, you've enabled a huge amount of positive change from some of our most deprived residents. And who could forget that it was you who invited Brooke Newcombe to come and speak to us all before Council last December. Brooke was incredibly inspiring, and I know there are many in this chamber who were brought to tears hearing his story and his bravery in the face of such incredible adversity. And finally, I'm going to have to get used to not calling you Mr. Mayor anymore, because I don't think Eddie would appreciate that. But on behalf of all of us in the Labour group and across this chamber, the guests here with us and those who can't be with us, I want to say a huge thank you to you, Saheed. Thank you.
Councillor Jabbar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and can I too offer my congratulations to you and Kath and wish you a very successful and enjoyable mayoral year. Mr. Mayor, High Sheriff, Deputy Lord Lieutenants, the Assistant High Commissioner of Bangladesh, the Consul General of Turkey, distinguished guests, colleagues, it gives me great pleasure to second the vote of thanks to Dr. Zahid Chauhan. As we gather here today, as part of the mayor-making ceremony, with gratitude and admiration to celebrate a man whose 10 years as civic mayor of Oldham has been marked by unwavering dedication, passion, and resilience. Councillor Chauhan has served his community with distinction, championing the cause of the most vulnerable amongst us. His tireless advocacy for the faith community, his commitment to supporting those experiencing homelessness, and his drive to strengthen community cohesion has transformed lives and left an indelible mark on Oldham. His leadership has been rooted in kindness, in belief that unity is our greatest strength, and in conviction that no one should ever feel forgotten. During his term of office, Councillor Chauhan has faced profound personal loss, the passing away of beloved wife to cancer, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant her a highest place in Jannah. Amen. Despite this heartbreak, he carried on with his dignity, ensuring that his work continued uplifting others. He showed us the true meaning of resilience, leading with courage while holding on to the love and the value that defined his family and his service. Zahid, today, we do not say goodbye. We say thank you. Thank you.
So that's Dr. Chauhan. For those of you who are unfamiliar with my ding-dong with Dr. Chauhan, he did recruit Johnny Depp's barristers at great expense. So Johnny Depp's law firm were hired in an attempt to sue me.
From the mayoral duties, your impact will be felt.
Truth is the truth is the truth.
Oldham is a better.
And Dr. Chauhan accepted. I have a right to ask questions. I have no idea how much that cost him. By the way, I would imagine from the receipts I've seen that they threw in my direction saying you will pay all of this if you don't agree to it. It was hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Councillor Gafour.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And firstly, we'd like to offer you congratulations on your election as mayor, and to you as well.
Here's,
group, and I'm sure from the rest
here
of us.
It is Cammy G.
I rise today
Cameron
to
Gafour,
express my heartfelt
sectarian, Pakistani sectarian, Oldham Group,
a colleague and a dear friend for
HMO,
his exemplary service
landlord. I'll let you decide whether the term slum landlord is appropriate, given what he was found to have fallen short
ensuring
of.
that every voice was heard and respected.
Him and his team suspended and kicked out of the Conservatives for anti-Semitism.
Dr. Chauhan's dedication
and his
to
brother,
our community is unparalleled.
this man's brother,
As a GP, he has
was on
tirelessly served
Greater
the health
Manchester's
needs
most
of our
wanted
residents.
list
His
for the
commitment to
supply
social
and
justice
distribution
is
of
evident
Class
in his
A
founding of the charity
drugs.
Homeless Friendly, advocating for the most vulnerable among us.
His sidekick,
During the
Abdul
COVID-19
Waheed,
pandemic, he led initiatives to vaccinate homeless
his brother,
individuals,
was
demonstrating
convicted
his deep
for a
compassion
major
and proactive leadership.
drug smuggling
Even in the face of personal
enterprise,
tragedy, with the loss of
which
his
involved
beloved
another
wife,
guy
Ashley,
called Kashmiri
Dr.
that
Chauhan
I'm
continued
led to
serve our
believe is
borough
also
with
linked
strength and
to
resilience,
Cameron
embodying a
Gafour. Of
very
course,
spirit of
Cameron
public
Gafour
service.
is
Dr.
a
Chauhan, your
multi-millionaire.
unwavering dedication and
And
kindness have
if
left
you
an indelible mark
if you
on
follow
Oldham.
my line of
I am proud
thinking
call
as to
you a
what
friend and grateful
cartel
for your
families
outstanding
look like,
contributions
they have
to our
politicians,
community. Thank you
they
so
have
much.
businessmen, and they have gangsters. All connected.
Councillor Woodbine.
No one says anything.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
No one does
On
anything.
behalf of the Conservatives and Oldham Council, I thank Councillor Chohan for his service as the Mayor of the Metropolitan Borough. Councillor Chohan, while there has been turbulence in this chamber over the last 2 years,
Here is Max
you have had a
Woodvine.
tremendous term as our Mayor.
I'm going to tell you
Your
a story
mayoral
about
appeals
Max
raised
Woodvine
vital
for those of
funds
you
for
new with
charities
new
and causes
Conservative
across
leader.
Oldham. At your ball in the Queen
Up
Elizabeth
a mill
Hall,
last year before.
special occasion marking
Spent
the
his
end of
time
your
getting
term,
drunk
you made a
with the
speech
other
about how much
councillor next to him,
value
his
and love you have placed
her
in the
daughter,
mayoralty across 2023
causing
to
havoc.
2025, which I
And
found particularly moving.
his phrase was, "Do you know who
However,
I
during
am?"
this time, you have shown resolve and
Also worked for the Royal British Legion, from where he was,
following the
I
sad
think
and
he
sudden
was
death of
sacked
your wife,
or let
the late
go.
Mayoress of Oldham. And I'm very sure
He
she'll
is
be
now
proud of
the
leadership
leader
you have
of the
shown.
Oldham Conservatives.
You have
Do you
represented well
see
the
how
many
messed up
communities and
this town
cultures
is?
in Oldham.
You've got
From your
Arud Shah,
support for
the
armed
council
forces
leader,
shown by your
who
regular
hangs off the
attendance
arm
at
of
the
Dale
Breakfast Club for
Cregan's
Veterans,
getaway
and
driver, a
recently
convicted
reaffirming
heroin
this
dealer,
council's
the
commitment to
leader
their
of the
covenant.
Oldham group,
To your visits to our neighbouring boroughs in Greater Manchester,
slum
many
landlord
civic occasions
perhaps,
as our first citizen.
HMO King
It's been a
definitely,
particular privilege for me
whose
to
brother
spend time
was
with
on
you
Greater
at the
Manchester's
many
most
events and
wanted list.
engagements you have undertaken
And
in the
here is
civil
Max
parish of
Woodvine,
Saddleworth,
who
and in
goes
my
round
Saddleworth
getting
South
wasted
Ward.
in Upper Mill,
Not least when you
telling
joined me at the
people,
Steam
"Do
Festival
you know who
organised
I
by
am?"
Saddleworth Round Table, and you were soaked in mains water before you enjoyed a ride on Frank Rothwell's steam engine. Conrad's face was a picture as you disappeared up Upper Mill High Street. I'm not sure if the insurance policy on the mayoral chains covered this activity, though judging by Frank's Rolex, it wasn't the only item of significant value being worn that day. You also had a wonderful afternoon in the sun at the Saddleworth Show, and I know you thoroughly enjoyed the concert performed by the Band of the Grenadier Guards, hosted by Saddleworth School. In the last 2 years, you have acted as a church warden for St Mary's Church, welcomed the Chelsea pensioners to Oldham when they performed in Failsworth, attended countless citizenship ceremonies at Chadderton Town Hall, revelled in the success of Oldham Rugby, and of course Latics last night, commemorated the 80th anniversary of D-Day, recognised our invaluable volunteers with your Appreciation Award, opened the Winfield Library at Oldham Hume Grammar School, laid poppy wreaths in remembrance of our borough's war dead, unveiled blue plaques to remember Marjorie Lees and commemorate Peterloo, joined many Oldham residents to mark their 100th birthdays, unveiled a memorial to the COVID pandemic, celebrated Oldham's recipients of the British Empire Medal, and much, much more. Most recently, you led in lighting up the Civic Centre for the final time in red, white and blue for the 80th anniversary of victory in Europe. Your time as Mayor reminds me of a quotation taken from a former Oldham MP, an honorary freeman of Oldham, the very same person who led this country to victory in 1945, and someone whose ranks you have now joined in the opinion of this council, Sir Winston Churchill. Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. In every official act as the Mayor of Oldham, you have shown kindness and compassion to all people, and I am confident that any person who has met you over the course of your mayoralty will reflect on the positive impact you have made in their lives and on the life of our metropolitan borough. Councillor Chohan, I wish you well in whatever lies ahead for you and your family. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
He's been actually, as mayor's going Oldham, he's been an okay mayor. He's chaired the meetings well.
Good lady. And also congratulations to you, former mayor, in becoming a freeman. And it's nice
So
to see
those of you who are joining me
I'm
new,
not going to touch on any of the sad bits.
those of you who are joining me new, this is Councillor Howard Sykes, leader of the Liberal Democrats, the official opposition. Howard Sykes has two claims to fame I think you should know of. One
the
is
first thing, because it scars you for
he
life, I want to do is apologise. I apologise because I messed
was
up
former leader of Oldham Council at around the time of the rape gangs.
I'll bet you haven't.
At its peak, he was, prior to McMahon, and he's on record saying he's been misled.
The other thing
Well,
is,
who misled you, Howard Sykes, because they should be in prison? You won't say. But what you should know is Howard Sykes, his lifelong friend, was none other than Cyril Smith. That's right. Howard Sykes and Cyril Smith were close friends.
And I'll do a slightly different tribute.
Ask him.
You are one of the best
I'm not making any of this up.
and slickest politicians
Ask him.
I've ever come across, because You don't let it show that that's what you're doing, and that's a real compliment. And it's a real skill, and your colleagues will be glad to have you back, I'm sure, on the, hopefully, front benches or whatever. So you've enjoyed your role. You have been a first-class ambassador for everybody. I think you need to remember and focus on the happy times, the difference you've made to many people, because I've had a lot of positive feedback, and I hope you enjoy a less busy life. Thank you.
Councillor Chauhan, please accept your medallion. Oh, sorry, apologies.
He's already getting it wrong. Huh? He's already getting it wrong.
Councillor, do your speech.
I don't think you're going to listen to his speech, so I'll just talk whilst he's talking. So this is Councillor Zahid Chauhan, who is, in my opinion, even with my ups and downs with him, I think he's been a very, very good mayor. He represents a Pakistani brand of politics that is being left behind, I think. And we are seeing that transition not just in Oldham, but in towns like that, where they're essentially no different than the white politicians who feather their own nests and you know, do deals that benefit them and their associates. That happens in local government across the board. So he's one of those. So in terms of malicious, he's not malicious in that way. Councillor Zahid Chauhan has admitted privately to friends of mine that Oldham Council is run by gangsters.
When I first sat here as a mayor, I spoke about why Oldham mattered to me. I started as a
See you later, Tony. Enjoy your day. Where are you going? You're going for a walk?
One gone and 4 are here. But not just as a councillor, not just as a resident, but also as a husband, but a father or someone who chose to build a life here. I spoke about the strength of Oldham's communities, the warmth of people, and the pride we share in our diverse and generous borough. And over the course of the last 2 years, filled with purpose, challenge, growth, I've seen all of those qualities in action every single day, honestly. Maybe I'm overly optimistic and positive, but everywhere I went, I've seen all those things. My life has been filled with love by the residents of Oldham, and I do mean it. Even this morning, I just went to the town center, and random woman came in while was trying to buy coffee and said, "I know it's your last day, and thank you for everything you did." That meant more to me than anything else in life. And that shows you that how much positivity out there is. And this time also brought personal challenges. I experienced loss of my wife, Afshin, the mayoress of Oldham. It is difficult sitting here when you started this journey with her sitting here and leaving actually these dice without her. But that's destiny we can't control. But I absolutely agree with my colleagues. She will be proud. I would like to say that her sport meant a lot to me, and on various occasions in our life we debated why Oldham, and I think she was right. Oldham was the right place for us to make our home, even though she was born here. But we thought of moving from Oldham on many occasions before joining politics, and she said, "No, let's stay in Oldham." I understand today why, and she was right once again. Throughout my time as a mayor, I strive to be a mayor for everyone. In my parlor, I opened it for everyone. I opened this chamber for everyone. I opened because every resident of Oldham deserves to feel heard and valued and included. which perhaps we should do more, and I have no doubt that Eddie will do better than me and will continue that journey. This building is just a building. It's bricks. It means something to the residents only when they are involved in this building, when they can come into this building and they can participate. The most embarrassing moment of my mayorship was when I brought a group here and they said, we did not know that we can come here. And I felt embarrassed as a mayor, as a councillor, and saying, how did we let that happen? The residents of Oldham, who actually really own this building, thinking that we did not know that we can come. And I'm sure there are many out there still think the same. Grab some tissues, please. We have to remember our town is not just 60 councillors who are sat in this chamber, who are the champions, rightly so, of over 250,000 population. But it's the people out there. They are the real or equal stakeholders in this. Their voices matter, and their voices should be guiding us. What do we need to do in this chamber? We opened up this chamber to real voices of Oldham people, to the poems, to the stories, to the reflection, and to remind us why we are here and what is our purpose of our service. Having a 100-year-old veteran here celebrating her birthday with guard of honor was the most amazing thing, an amazing difference. But that was a message of positivity and hope that this building is not only to debate and argue and form policies, but this is also to celebrate and appreciate people who are out there, who've given their lives. And we need to do more of it. We need to do more of it as individuals. We need to do more of it as a system. I launched Truly Wish, and my aim of launching Truly Wish was not to do a charitable work, but was to actually give people reasons to celebrate. It's not always about charity. It's just bringing a little smile on someone's face, fulfilling someone's wishes. We raised funds thanks to the businesses, my amazing Mayor's Appeal Committee, and we fulfilled meaningful wishes. One of them was someone wanted to become a zookeeper. That was his wish for life. Guess what? It took us a phone call from our office to arrange that. That one phone call didn't cost us any money. Changed someone's life, gave them something what they always wanted to do. What does that show you? It's not always about money. It's about doing things differently. It's actually putting yourself in someone's shoe and saying, we really want to make a difference, not just by saying we want to make a difference. We celebrated our diversity through shared events, interfaith gatherings, real collaboration. We proved that what unites us is always stronger than what we divide us, and that is humanity. Everyone being here, anyone who said, can I come? We said, yes, please come. Even my office was sick of me. They will be delighted now. My wish at the start of the term was for the chamber to become a space of mutual respect, where new talent is nurtured, where disagreement is constructive, and where the focus always remains on Oldham. And I wish for that to continue. I wish for unity, not just symbolic unity, but real cooperation across political and community lines. I wish for respect for our residents. I will say again, I do wish respect for our residents. I don't believe that we give them enough respect. I'm not going to sit here as a Labour politician and pretend that, yeah, we have achieved everything. You can always do more and more and more. But it's all of us. We need to give them more respect. And similarly, respect for one another. I don't agree with most, or at least for a lot of politicians here, but I respect them. We respectfully disagree, and we're entitled to disagree. I wish for this council to listen and respond, and for us collectively to be more transparent and accountable to the public. I wish for opposition to be challenging, but constructively, and work and find the solutions for the problems of the residents of Oldham. I do wish for historical injustices in this town to be acknowledged and addressed, including inequalities including why people are dying earlier in this town than many other towns. I want us to be collective, or be on the collective front and say what we're going to do to actually reduce some of those inequalities, not only health, housing, and everything else. And these are the real issues what people want to see being resolved, rather than us arguing here, walking in and out of this chamber. Unfortunately, I might have to be part of that now. And I wish that no matter our party of political affiliations, when we enter this chamber, we remember that our duty is first and foremost to Oldham and to the residents of Oldham. Going forward, in whatever capacity I serve, I hope to be a voice of reason, and when needed, a voice of challenge, both in chamber and outside the chamber. I want to thank the Mayor's office, Andrew Conrad, mainly for putting up with me, but also supporting me personally, and all the council's dedicated staff for acknowledging, supporting my funny, silly requests, and for the 2 years of not only support as a mayor, but also providing personal postal support as well. I have to say thank you to, I was going to say Deputy Mayor, Mayor, and to Kat. You're not only a good councillor, good friend, but you are a very, very good human being, and I'm proud to call both of you my friends. And thank you for all your personal support. And wish you all the best for the next 12 months. To my colleagues, thank you for all your support. To our donors, volunteers, thank you for your generosity and belief that we could do. We have not resolved everything, but we have started something, and we will continue to do what we set to do. To my Mayoral Appeal Committee, all of them here, there, thank you, and really thank you. And Barry, thank you for coping with my silly ideas when all of a sudden I ring you and you say, let me sort it out. Thank you. I have to say thank you to my children who are not here because of their GCSEs and A-level exams. But I think without them, I perhaps would not have been able to continue. And they also remind me that we are building our future, and hopefully a positive future. And to the people of Oldham, thank you for the trust, for your generosity, for standing with me through my high and low, and for all the love you have given me. I do really mean thank you. Before I close, I ask that we take a moment of silence to reflect on the innocent lives lost in all the conflicts, including India, Pakistan, all the people who are still in captivity in Gaza or Israel or whatever, wherever they are, and all the children and innocent people who lost their lives in Gaza. Thank you. Let us pause to honor their memory and reflect on the shared humanity and the value of every life. Every life matters. And as I pass on this chain of office, I do so with humility and pride and with continued hope for this borough. Oldham, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chauhan. Get back to the script now, as I should have done before. Apologies for that. Just shows my nerves about today. Yes, so thank you for that speech, and thank you for reminding us about the turmoil this world is in and the people who are suffering, and we must remember them. So, Councillor Chauhan, I'd like to present you with your medallion now, and also with a flag that was displayed in the Mayor's Parlour. I think you were the first Mayor to have that flag in there, and it's something I would hope to keep as a tradition in the future. It means a lot to us all, and it's something we should be proud of. So, and we also have the declaration as well.
What I'm wondering is whether he will continue to stand as a local councillor, or whether he will step down. This is going to be interesting for next May.
We now move on to the nominations for Deputy Mayor.
Oh, here we go.
Can I please ask for the nomination to appoint to the office of Deputy Mayor for the municipal year 2025-2026. Councillor Hindle to move and Councillor Navzi to second.
So the independents are there. Hindle and Hinz have sold out the town once again. That's Hindle and Hinz have sold out the town once again. The four independents are now supporting Labour to prop up Brian Hobin, the convicted fraudster, as the Deputy Mayor and the next Mayor of Oldham. This is Hindle,
been a great representative for
dodgy as anything.
Working ward councillor, as one of the main drivers for public inquiry into CSE.
No, convicted fraudster
Serving on various
Hindle.
committees, he's been a reasoned voice while still challenging where required. Voted in for Failsworth East Ward in 2019 in the first wave of independent, and now as the longest serving independent councillor, the time feels right for him to be the first independent deputy mayor. Now some may say,
I'll ask you something, right? They all know he's a convicted fraudster, yet not one of them, in my opinion, will have the courage to stand up and say, what do the optics look like of a convicted fraudster who swindled old women out of their savings being elected to become deputy mayor and then the next mayor of the town?
Before being considered.
What sort of optics is that?
Times have changed.
What sort of optics is it for survivors of the
than it was 5 years ago?
rape gangs sat in the public gallery and screamed at him because he'd exploited them?
Let us be a council that recognises all councillors,
And of
including
course,
independents.
he is a
Let us
liar,
be democratic and vote
and
the
we
first
can prove
independent
that
councillor
because
as
he
deputy mayor.
promised in the lead up to the election that he would not support Arud Shah, and it's the first thing he did. Brian Hobin is a convicted fraudster. Fraudster once, always a fraudster.
I rise to second
This is Navesey,
nomination for Deputy
someone who needs to be voted out as well. Lisa Navesey will not comment on the town crier that her and Hobin, her and Hindle put into power. Who is being investigated. I've got paperwork to prove he has tried it on with children in some way or another. Anything to say, Lisa Navesey? No.
Brian,
I don't think so.
Serving independent on the council, has been a champion of independence and the role that they can play for years. He's deserving his appointment, and he'll make a fantastic deputy mayor. Thank you.
Supporting Arud Shah, supporting the Pakistani gangsters that run this town.
I call on Councillor Sykes to move and Councillor Woodbine to second the amendment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Unprecedented to contest the deputy mayor, by the way.
There's a 50-year custom at this council that we alternate the appointment of deputy mayor on a politically neutral basis. This system has ensured that people from all parties and groups and none have the opportunity to serve in due course. As you and everyone else in this chamber knows, Mr Mayor, under this year and that system, it would fall to the Liberal Democrat group to make a nomination. Last year we waived our right so the outgoing mayor could do another year and yourself could do another year as deputy mayor for very, very understandable reasons. We did the right thing back then on the clear understanding it would be our turn this year, and now those with no honour are breaking their word. That's why we're nominating Liberal Democrat councillor Alicia Marland. Today should really be about recognising her service to the people of Saddleworth and Lees, the commitment she has made to campaigning in support for the elderly, and through her involvement in local luncheon clubs, to name just two things, and her tireless campaign for safer streets and cleaner air. But the reality is Councillor Marland is being snubbed, isn't she? Today we're seeing the office of the Deputy Mayor being dragged into the Labour Party's grubby deal with their so-called independent allies.
Yes.
Let's call it what it is.
Yes.
A grubby political handout
Yes.
for an office that is supposed to be politically neutral. I've nothing against Brian Orbin.
I have.
The only reason he's been
He's a
nominated
convicted
today
fraudster.
is because Councillor Shah and the Labour group need his vote to stay in power. He's the administration's candidate. Anyone who believes a word to the contrary is insulting their own intelligence. And this matters. It matters because the council's reputation is in tatters. People's trust in this place is in the gutter. But despite that, the office of Mayor, as we've just heard, and Deputy Mayor still holds a place of immense respect and value in our civic life and community. That's because of the good work of previous mayors of our borough of all parties. The mayor is now being effectively politicised. It's a moment of real shame and sadness for me and for Oldham Borough, a new law. And I think Labour know it.
Yes.
I'm proud to nominate my friend and colleague, Councillor Alicia Marland, to become Deputy Mayor. It's taken me nearly 3 or 4 years to get pronouncing your first name right, but there we are. She will be an hard-working and diligent servant to the whole borough, as she already demonstrates in Saddleworth West and Lees. She would serve in a politically neutral tradition of the office, and she would serve all our communities without fear and favour. She's in stark contrast to the grace and favour approach we are sadly seeing from the administration and their friends today. I so move, Mr Mayor.
Why didn't you say a convicted fraudster should not hold the position of Deputy Mayor? Come on, where's your
I would like
courage?
to congratulate you on your election to the Mayor of the Metropolitan Borough of Oldham. However, I am saddened that today's ceremony, which should be a celebration of our borough, is marred by political gameplay by the Labour administration as they pay for votes by nominating Councillor Hoban to be Deputy Mayor.
Well, they paid for votes by sacrificing
I rise today
children.
As a Conservative to second the Liberal Democrat nomination for Deputy Mayor, to uphold and support the point system which we have used for over half a century since the formation of our borough and this council. The point system ensures all political groups and parties, including those made up of independents, get an opportunity to hold the office of Mayor. It is a democratic and fair process. It gives stability to our borough and strong leadership to this council. Unfortunately, some individuals in this chamber have put their self-interest before the interests of Oldham, and the Labour administration, led by Councillor Shah, is today single-handedly making a mockery of the mayoralty. They think they can usurp the system. Councillor Sykes has in good faith twice deferred the Liberal Democrat group's right to the mayoralty, once for COVID and second to allow Councillor Chowan to have another year for known reasons. For the benefit of our guests and dignitaries, the Lib Dems have 55 points, the Conservatives have 10 points, and Labour have minus 127 points. On that basis alone, Councillor Shah has disregarded the good faith agreement and ended half a century of convention and tradition to suit her own political needs, and Councillor Hoban is happy to go along with it, as long as he gets to wear a gold chain. The argument that independents won't get an opportunity to have a mayor is a fallacy created by the council leader in an insincere, weak way to defend her position. Even the Oldham group, which is made up of individual independent members of this council, has 8 points, which means they will overtake this Conservative group in terms of points very soon. That's democracy. I am indeed very sorry to have to make this speech today on an occasion which should be full of joy for the family and friends of Councillor Moores as he assumes the mayoralty. But it is important that the people of Oldham understand the severity of this situation. Councillor Shah clearly has no qualms about securing her own position by undermining convention and the civic, apolitical office of the mayor. I urge all elected members across this chamber to do the right thing. Do not allow her to further increase and intensify the division and toxicity in Oldham's politics. Please maintain the integrity of the mayoralty by supporting the Liberal Democrat nomination for Deputy Mayor of Oldham. Thank you.
Nothing to say. A convicted fraudster should not hold position.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll have to get used to saying that.
Oh, this is Mincy Boy. It's the drunken Mincy Boy.
Excellent, Mayor.
Mincy
When we talk
Boy.
about 50-year conventions, That's not democratic. A convention doesn't necessarily mean
here we go.
democracy. What that convention represented was effectively an old boys agreement to distribute the role of deputy mayor and mayor to political parties, not to any individual. Simply giving the Conservatives, the Labour and the Lib Dems the chance to choose, however they wish, someone to hold this esteemed office. I personally think this appointment shows true democracy.
Look at the state
Everyone in
of
this
it.
chamber has got the right to vote on it on the balance of the person being put forward. And it is true to say at this moment, a third of this chamber is independent and have no party allegiance.
He is in Labour's pocket.
So
he signed a secret pact with Labour. It was recorded and leaked.
And I think it is a refreshing change. In truth, it used to be convention, we used to put children up chimneys. We don't anymore, do we? So we don't always rely on convention in the past. And I think this chamber needs to move forward, and this is reflective of that.
We are going to remove Mincy Boy from Shaw.
Councillor Hoban.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and
fraudster.
obviously congratulations to you and your role. I just wanted to get up in defence
Convicted
of something
fraudster.
that's been said.
Convicted
And the
fraudster.
nomination for me.
Convicted
as
fraudster.
everybody's heard.
Convicted
From my
fraudster.
friend, Councillor Hindle.
Convicted
So it's
fraudster.
an independent nomination. For
Convicted
an independent
fraudster.
Candidate.
Convicted fraudster.
And whether you like the administration
Convicted
or not,
fraudster.
the
Convicted
democratics of it,
fraudster.
as Councillor Hinds has just said, a convention
Stole
that's
money
lasted
from
50
old women.
years does not mean that other independent councillors now can be ignored. Thank you.
Stole money from old women. Convicted fraudster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No wonder
I
Aruz
had
Shah
no
is
intention to
supporting a
because
convicted
I
fraudster.
didn't want to bring the facade that others are used to bring into this chamber in this section, but I am going to I have reason to state some facts. Before I do so, I want to apologise to Councillor Hoban and his family, because this should have been an enjoyable moment for them, but also to Councillor Elsie Marlin, because I don't know her personally. I have nothing against her, and she always carries herself in a dignified way, so nothing personal in that. But I am going to share some facts. So firstly, I think it's really disrespectful in front of the outgoing mayor for the leader of the Lib Dems to do what he's made quite a habit of and misrepresent the truth. It is not true last year that he waived his right. For the last 3 years, the Liberal Democrats have refused to put anyone forward. They've not presented a single nomination. The second fact, in the group leaders meeting, which you weren't there, and when I say you weren't there, I'm referring to the outgoing mayor, when you weren't there, Councillor Holbein came to that meeting, as did Councillor Hinds, as did Councillor Sykes, as did Councillor Arnott, and as did Councillor Wahid on behalf of subbing for Councillor Ghaffar. When that meeting was being conducted downstairs and there was council officers there, in that meeting, Councillor Holbein had said that given exactly the arguments that you've heard from the independents today, that there has been, that it needs to change, and that they actually, in that meeting, openly, in front of all the colleagues that I've mentioned, said that Councillor Holbein had been approached by Councillor Ghaffar as would he like the position of Deputy Mayor, because we're going to challenge a motion of no confidence at the council meeting, at the annual council meeting. We're going to be presenting a motion of no confidence, and would you, Brian Holbein, would you like to be chair? Would you like any position that you want? I will give you a certain amount of money for your ward. He said the same to Councillor Hindle. I will give you a certain, are you interested in these positions? Now, when Councillor Holbein approached me about the nomination, about being mayor, what I said to Councillor Holbein was, given that there has been a situation where there has been an agreement that I've always honoured, I wasn't here 50 years ago, I'm not aware of a gentleman agreement, and there's something that we have to learn today. Gentlemen shouldn't get in a room, make any kind of agreements, because that is what's created the chaos today. So when Councillor Holbein was approached by Councillor Ghaffar, he was offered the deputy mayoralship. Councillor Holbein then said openly in front of all the colleagues that I mentioned in the room that I was approached by Councillor Ghaffar, to which Councillor Arnott's response was it being offered to everybody in Sundry? Because I was given the same, I was offered the same position by Councillor Ghaffar. Councillor Arnott declared that in that meeting. Based on that, the only point that I made was, well, actually, if you are all doing these background conversations, moving a motion of no confidence is people are entitled to do it for whatever reason. And I will even state that fact. The only reason Councillor Gafford is obsessed and continues to bring motions of no confidence is because he is used to using his money, his power and influence to control people. He has no money that will influence me, no power over me. But the reality is...
I think that's enough. Mr Mayor, I think that's enough. That is disgraceful. You know, she's trying to say that I'm bribing people.
I'll give you a right to reply in a minute.
Mr Mayor, though, I think she's continuing. She's getting very, very personal, and I can get very, very personal as well. And she needs to understand, and she needs to sit down and get her head in the right place.
Please sit down, Councillor Sharp. Please.
Can I have a right reply, please, Mr Mayor?
The councillor of bribing people. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
And then we will be going...
This is when cartels fight cartels.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Right, Councillor Shah, let me tell you this. Who the hell am I to give anybody a deputy mayorship or a chairmanship? What, these discussions always happen when you do these things because we have to bring people together to get rid of this incompetent Labour administration. So you know what? No, I've admitted what? That I've given him what? How the hell am I supposed to give Councillor Hoban a deputy mayorship when I've got no power at all? You are the only one with the power. You are the one. You are the one. Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Down.
You know, Mr. Mayor, she just goes way beyond. She goes way beyond.
It's
This is the problem with this council. This is the problem with this council, and this is the problem with this leadership.
Sit down, please. Now.
Gangster-run council.
Right.
See.
This will be discussed outside of this chamber. At this moment in time, we are bringing this discussion to a halt. I am calling for a vote now. I'm having no more discussion on this.
I second it. Recorded vote.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I had my hand up.
Well, he's been accused of offering bribes.
I think we should move to vote.
Cartel civil war.
Councillor Hindle, do you wish to reply?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
You'll learn, Eddie. I am quite quick. If you look on that board, you'll find the first person up there is a woman, not a gentleman, that benefited from whatever this agreement was, that has stayed the test of time via some very, what I would call, forthright Labour characters and everybody else. It also does allow people, and let's just kill that myth, to be it. So, for example, when we had UKIP councillors on this council, they accrued points and were, until they disappeared, thankfully, to be it, and independent members, whether they group together or groups of two, would do exactly the same. I just wanted to make one thing absolutely clear. I am going to resist the temptation to tell you what really went on that group leaders meeting, because that wouldn't be appropriate, because that's supposed to be a space where we all talk together and what we say stays in the room. I won't be breaching that, but in relation to what at least two other people who sat in that room say, I'm going to think about my position about that, both from that meeting and going forward, and I hereby give notice of that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
We will now move to the vote on the amendment, and it's going to be a recorded vote.
Oh dear.
It's going to be a recorded vote. It's already asked for.
So it's already a done deal, because Mincy Boy, who's proper... So what you've got to understand here, what you people have got to understand here, the Pakistani gangsters in this town, the rape gang cover-ups, all of that is being...
You currently voting
This council is being able to run the way it is because of 4 white politicians we elected on the promise that they would help us clean up the town, and they've got in bed with Arud Shah and her Pakistani brand of politics.
Councillor Akhtar.
That is the truth. Brian Hoban,
Councillor Al-Hamdani.
Hindle,
Councillor Ali Moa.
Lisa Nafesi, and
Councillor
Mincy Boy
Alizé.
Markins.
Councillor Arnott. Councillor Aslam. Councillor Azad. Councillor Ball. Councillor Bashforth. Councillor Bishop. Councillor Brownridge. Councillor Byrne.
4.
Councillor Charters.
The police are
Chauhan.
involved, mate. The police are involved.
Saeed. Councillor Chauhan, Naveed. Councillor Cosgrove. Councillor Davis. Councillor Dean. Councillor Gaffour. Councillor Goodwin. Councillor Hamlet.
4.
Councillor Harkness.
4.
Councillor Harrison. Councillor Hince. Councillor Hindle. Councillor Hoban. Councillor Hughes. Councillor Hurley. Councillor Hussain Aftab. Councillor Hussain Feeder. Councillor Hussain Junaid. Councillor Hussain Sajid. Councillor Ibrahim. Councillor Iqbal. Councillor Islam. Councillor Jabbar. Councillor Kenyon. Councillor Cowser. Councillor Malik. Councillor Marland. Councillor McLaren. Councillor Murphy.
4.
Councillor Mushtaq. Councillor Nasheem. Councillor Navesy. Councillor Quigg. Councillor Rustage. Councillor Shah. Councillor Sharp. Councillor Sheldon. Councillor Shuttleworth.
Against.
Councillor Sykes.
So they've lost the vote, and they've also lost the vote because a couple of Conservatives have failed to turn up for the meeting.
Councillor Wilkinson.
I'm not joking. A couple of Conservatives have
Councillor
also failed to
Williamson.
turn up for the meeting.
4. Councillor Woodvine. Mr Mayor.
The Mayor of Oldham next year is just about to be announced to be a convicted fraudster. You're in trouble with your pub as well, aren't you, Brian Hoban? Is that true? I'm hearing that you're in trouble with your pub. I look forward to seeing how that plays out. Lewis Quigg is honest.
Right, it was 28 for and 31 against. The amendment is lost. So we now move to the original motion, and I will go to a vote on that.
There was one Conservative missing then. One Conservative missing. He's clueless, isn't he? You can see he's absolutely clueless.
Councillor Adams. Councillor Akhtar. Councillor Al-Hamdani.
Against.
Councillor Ali Moan. Councillor Ali Zahir.
So now they're voting for
Councillor
Hoban.
Arnott.
So they're voting for Hoban
Councillor
is now what
Aslam.
they're doing. So, sorry, my chair's
Councillor Azad.
too further along, isn't it? I need to realign
Councillor
this
Ball.
when I finally get things set up. I got a
Councillor
text
Bashford.
message whilst I'm here. I can go to
Councillor
next and I can pick up my backdrop.
Councillor
I can pick up some
Brownridge.
curtains I've bought. So
Councillor
I'll go and
Byrne.
do that once I finish with you. If you're finding value in my
Councillor
watch along
Charters.
and there's 1,000 of you
Councillor
here,
Chauhan Seed.
please consider buying me a coffee at the very
Councillor
least.
Chauhan Naveed.
A handful of you have. You know,
Councillor
I am
Cosgrove.
100% dependent on the
Councillor
generosity and
Davis.
goodwill of people to subscribe to Redwall and the Rabble
Councillor
here,
Dean.
or to buy me a coffee,
Councillor Gaffour.
or to support me with a super chat. If
Councillor
you
Goodwin.
don't do that, it becomes extremely
Hamlet.
difficult for me to
Against.
continue the work I do.
Councillor Harkness.
I am 100%
Councillor
community
Harrison.
funded, and all of my content
Councillor
is shared
Hince.
for free. So please do support
Councillor
me.
Hindle. Councillor Hoban. Councillor Hughes. Councillor Hurley. Councillor Hussain Aftab. Councillor Hussain Feeder. Councillor Hussain Junaid. Councillor Hussain Sajid.
Yes,
Councillor
Luke Lancaster
Ibrahim.
not there, yeah? Can't even bother to turn up. I hear he's standing down next time,
Councillor Iqbal.
Gary. He's not standing again, is what I hear.
Councillor Islam. Councillor Jabbar, Councillor Kenyon, Councillor Cowser, Councillor Malik, Councillor Marland, Councillor McLaren, Councillor Murphy,
Against.
Councillor Mushtaq, Councillor Nasheen, Councillor Navesy, Councillor Quigg, Councillor Rustage, Councillor Shah, Councillor Sharp, Councillor Sheldon, Councillor Shuttleworth,
4.
Councillor Sykes, Councillor Taylor, Councillor Waheed, Councillor Wilkinson, Councillor Williamson, Councillor Woodvine.
Against.
Mr Mayor.
There you go. The vote is complete. The next Mayor of Oldham next year is going to be a convicted fraudster. A man who stole the savings of old women. Brian Hoban. He can't sue me for the truth.
31 for, 28 against. So, Councillor Hoban will be appointed Deputy Mayor for the coming year.
Clapping to a convicted fraudster.
Councillor Hoban, I invite you to make and sign your declaration of acceptance of office for Deputy Mayor 2025-26 in the presence of the Chief Executive. Please join us.
This is how corrupt this town is. This is the state we now find ourselves in. Where one cartel faction is arguing against another cartel faction, and one keeps hold of power by securing enough votes, by bribing this white man, perhaps? I don't know what the quite correct term is, but this bald white man, when we talk about the cover-up of the gang rape of children, when we talk about corruption, when we talk about this Labour administration keeping hold of power, it's because this bald white man sold out the council, sold out his voters, sold out Failsworth. He was elected on a promise to fight, and now he has been bribed with the mayorship. But worse than that, they have just voted in a convicted fraudster.
I undertake to observe the adopted code of conduct in the performance.
No policeman can come and arrest me. Convicted fraudster. I find it offensive that a convicted fraudster has just been voted in to be the next Mayor of Oldham, my hometown. Stole money from old women. Convicted fraudster next to the Chief Executive Shelley Kipling, who is now signing, who herself is neck deep in the cover-up of the gang rape of children. Alongside Eddie Moores, the Mayor, current Mayor, the new Mayor, who has consistently voted to help cover up the gang rape of children. And that's the borough solicitor, the bald guy on the end, Alexander Bogotoff, who attempted to have me have an injunction taken out against me to silence me because I refused to remain silent to not just the corruption in my town, but the cover-up of the gang rape of children. This is what we have been fighting for 6 years, and if I sound emotional, it is because those who should be fighting alongside me say, Raja, learn to play the game. I'm not here to play any games, and I let people decide whether my passion
I'm pleased to announce my
and my principles,
2025-26, which will
whether that is right for these people to claim I am toxic. What can be done about it? We vote reform. We march to the next elections in May. We put forward candidates, but to win over reform, Lewis Quigg, Mark Wilkinson and Sandra Ball, possibly Beth Sharp, need to switch sides. They need to cross the floor from independents and from the Conservatives that are now useless and create a reform arm in Oldham Council, and then they need to take control of the branch away from the racists, and the town will mobilise behind them. That's what needs to happen. Look at him. Convicted fraudster. Stole money from old women. Convicted fraudster. I'm sorry, mate. It's not going to be sorted from the top down because there's 4 years before the next general election.
Thank you. I am pleased to announce the appointment of my chaplain, Reverend Stephen Smith of St Mark's in Chadderton. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us today because I think he's sunning himself in Cyprus.
Thank you. I'll use that. Not toxic, just truthful. Thank you, Patrick.
Processional procession to Oldham Parish Church for my civic service on Sunday, the 25th of May 2025, leaving the Civic Centre at 10 a.m. for the procession to the church. I would now like to call for an adjournment for approximately 10 minutes to allow dignitaries, family and invited guests to join the Mayoress in the Chadderton Suite and the Mayor's Parlour.
So they're having a 10-minute break. There's a vote to be had yet on the vote of no confidence. I think you all know which way that's going to go. It's going to go 28-31 again. So Cameron Gaffoy is going to fail in the vote of no confidence, but I think you can wait for that to play out. I am going to go and get myself a cup of coffee. Please. I don't know why I do this. I genuinely don't. I risk arrest every time I open my mouth. I do this. I risk so much. There's 1,084 of you who've viewed me or support, at some point on this. There's 119 likes, and a handful of you have bought me a coffee. You're all here because you find value in this. How hard is it? Forget paying £2 or £3. How hard is it to press a like button to help the algorithm work? How hard is it? I'll get a coffee and I'll come back. Maybe you get a coffee as well. I think it's something I'd like to believe, but I struggle to believe, if I'm honest with you, Jules. And I'll say this to you. They've tried desperately to silence me. And I look at this, and I look at my town, and I say this with no arrogance whatsoever. If they succeed, or if I wake up at one point and I said I've had enough, they'll just go back to as they were. There'll be no resistance, there'll be no opposition. No one will lead it, no one will coordinate it. And that's the sad truth. Good will only win if we fight against evil. I've been at this for 6 years, and every now and then someone comes along, and what they try and do in my town is they try and write me out of what happened. I'm too toxic, I'm the wrong colour, I'm wrong this, I'm wrong that, I don't live in the town anymore, even though I can walk into the town in about 5 minutes. And the truth is, it'll just collapse. So what you've just witnessed is the council leader accusing her main opposition rival of corruption and bribery, and in between all of that, the next mayor of Oldham next year is going to be a convicted fraudster who Arud Shah has bought with the support. And then there's Mincy Boy, Hince and Lisa Navesey, all of them neck deep in this. How do you feel? Genuinely, how do you feel? If you're finding value in my work, and yesterday was really painful. I got 1 new subscriber and 9 people supported me. Most of the 9 who supported me regularly support me. And I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking, what's the point? When it comes to Oldham, what's the point? When they can do this, what's the point? But then I look at my friends in the council chamber and there are decent people in there. And even, you know, I look at that and I say to Lewis Quigg, go and join Reform. Help clean it up. Mark Wilkinson, Sandra Ball, they'll vote you out. You'll lose your seats. Go and join Reform. Help galvanise the opposition. Draw decent people into the party rather than some of the racists that infest it at the moment. And help clean up the town. It's without you. Without these councillors now switching sides, we have lost. There's 2 cartel factions fighting out with each other, and allied with them is a bunch of corrupt white councillors who's been bribed with one group or another. And then a Lib Dem group who, well, you've seen them. Because every time it comes to the fight, they chicken off and they back the establishment, time after time after time. Thank you. If I've missed any super chats, let me know. Thank you so much. Thanks, Roy. And thank you, Jules. And I send the newsletter out 3 times a week, I think, Denise. And our numbers are slowly creeping. But they're nowhere near where they should be, really. For the content, for the people who engage, is what I mean. Our numbers are nowhere near what they should be for the number of people who engage and take value. I hope so, mate. I hope so. A little yeast works through the whole batch of dough. I hope so. So when they come back, there'll be a vote of no confidence in Arud Shah. That will play out very quickly, I think. And if you can hear a buzzing noise or a fan in the background, that's my air fryer. I've got a jacket potato for my lunch. Oh, actually, it's for my breakfast. We've just seen a convicted fraudster elected as the next mayor, Julie. How much worse can it get? And not one of them had the courage to stand up and say, I will not support a convicted fraudster who swindled old women from out of their savings into being elected mayor. Not one of them had the courage to stand up and say that, in the same way as when we first started and before we first started, when Warren Bates was screaming and crying, not one of them stood up in the council chamber and had the courage to say, we will not remain silent whilst they drag our children off the streets and gang rape them. Now I understand Reform has cancelled their AGM, and news has been shared with me whilst we're waiting that somehow I have conspired some form of takeover, infiltration, absolute bollocks. Let me get that very clear. I have been campaigning across the country non-stop, and everywhere I go, even to people who don't like to hear this, I am saying to them, join Reform. It's the only chance we've got. Join Reform. Any of the other parties that you're thinking of, it's nonsense. UKIP won't get anywhere. Heritage, whatever, racists, extremists. The nation's not extreme. We need to hold the middle ground. We need to get united behind one party. You don't have to like everyone. You don't have to agree with everything, but this is the only chance we have. And I've been saying join Reform, and it seems so many of you have joined Reform, and some of you have stood for positions on the committee of Reform in Oldham, and they've cancelled the meeting off the back of that. I mean, that's not democracy, but it's got nothing to do with me. I will continue to encourage people to join. And in a democracy, that's what you do. You go and join a political party, and if you don't like who's standing or representing that, you vote them out. And you pick your own people to run it. And if you followed me the last few months, you'll see I've been consistent every week. Join Reform, join Reform, join Reform. So, if you haven't yet, and this is getting you angry, and you fear that your town is at risk of being lost or this will happen where you live, go and join Reform. Be part of the change. And no, I haven't joined Reform yet. I'm not a member of any political party because, as I explained to people throughout this, there will come a time when I will join a political party, but not right now. I've got to see this inquiry through. I've got to support Rupert Lowe's team, even though whatever falling out he's had, he's got Reform people on his committee as well. He's got former Conservatives on his committee as well. I've got to support that. I think being politically neutral in the way I am gets me to places where otherwise I won't be able to. We're back.
Thank you. Item 5, minutes of the council meeting held on the 9th of April 2025. Can council approve and sign as a correct record the minutes of the meeting held on the 9th of April, subject to an amendment on page 20 of the agenda pack to reflect that Oldham Rugby League reached the semi-final of the 1895 Cup, not the Challenge Cup as stated in the minutes. Is that agreed? Thank you. Item 6, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from members in respect of matters to be determined by the Council at this meeting? No, thank you. Item 7, urgent business. There are no items of urgent business. Item 8, communications. There are none. Item 9, Leader of the Council. I call on Councillor Taylor to move and Councillor Jabbar to second the report, which notes that Councillor Shah remains the Leader of the Council until the start of the first day of annual Council meeting after the Leader's normal day of retirement as a Councillor, as outlined in the report. Councillor Taylor.
Move, Mr Mayor, and may I also take this opportunity just to congratulate you and Kath on your new role. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jabbar.
Moved, Mr Mayor, but can I reserve right to speak, please?
Thank you. We have an amendment. Can I call on Councillor Ghaffur to move and Councillor Waheed to second the amendment? As we've all got copies, haven't we, of the amendment? Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Fellow councillors, firstly I'd like to apologise to the Chamber for my outburst before. It's not nice to be called somebody who would bribe people to come on their side. So I'll quickly move on now. But fellow councillors, today I'm going to speak plainly. This Labour administration has failed Oldham. They have taken the people of this town granted for far too long. I've said it before and I'm saying it again. And now it's time to hold them accountable. I stood here in April and made a call for every independent voice, every councillor who puts Oldham before politics, to stand together and end this charade. And today, the moment is here. This Labour administration does not listen. Not to this chamber, not to the residents, not to the people they claim to serve. Take places for everyone. This council voted to withdraw. That was democracy. That was the will of the people. But what did Labour do? They ignored it. They ignored you, the councillors, every single one of you. They ignored them, the residents. They made sure their voices were not heard. That is not leadership. That is arrogance. That is contempt for democracy. Let me make this absolutely clear. This really isn't just about me. This is not about the Oldham group. You may laugh, but it's not. This is about every person in this borough who's been ignored, overlooked and let down. We don't need vanity projects and press releases. We don't need Labour councillors patting each other on the back while bin collections go uncollected, potholes swallow our roads and alleys turn into dumping grounds. We need action. We need basics. We need to fix the fundamentals that Labour has not allowed to rot. And while they focus on spin and show, community buildings are allegedly being handed to friends and private interest behind closed doors. That is not public service. That is political favouritism. That is a disgrace. Let me also say this. The opposition councillors sitting here today come from every part of Oldham. We come from different communities, different walks of life, and different political traditions. But we are united by one thing, our commitment to the people of this borough. We are not career politicians. We are not controlled by party bosses in London. We are not in this for titles or promises. We are local. We are principled. We are independent. And make no mistake, we are better suited to deal with the real issues facing Oldham than this tired, out-of-touch Labour administration. We have more talent, more diversity and more vision. We have the voices of real people from every corner of this borough. And more importantly, we have the courage to do what is right. Last year, the people of Oldham voted for change. They gave us a mandate. But instead of respecting the people's will, Labour clung on to power through backroom deals and political games. That is betrayal, nothing less. But here today, every single opposition councillor has a chance to set things right. I'm talking to you, Councillor Hinds, to you, Councillor Navesy, to you, Councillor Hindle, and to you, Councillor Holbein. Prove to us that you haven't been given the deputy mayorship just because you're going to be voting with Labour. Do the right thing. This isn't about party lines anymore. This is about what is right and what is wrong. Are you here to serve your community or serve your career? Are you here for the people of Oldham, or are you here for the perks? Because the truth is, this Labour council isn't even run from Oldham. The Manchester Evening News said it. It's Westminster that calls the shots. And that is the greatest insult of all. Local people...
Thank you, Councillor Gafford. That's your time.
No, it's not. Move extension, please. Local people shut out from decisions about their own town. Oldham belongs to Oldhamers. It's time we gave this town back to the people, not to London, not to Labour HQ, but to the streets of Colders, Chadderton, Failsworth, Saddleworth, Royton, Shaw, St Mary's, every single corner of this borough. St James as well, sorry Beth. This is your moment. So, come to up. It's still got the green light on there. You've just taken it off. It's your moment. Show the residents, councillors, and do the right thing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And firstly, I'd like to take this moment to congratulate you on your appointment and wish you the best of luck. Mr. Mayor, honourable members and members of the public, I rise today to proudly second this amendment. Not simply to remove a leader, but to unite behind a shared future that puts the people of Oldham first. This is a defining moment not just for us as councillors, but for our borough. A moment when we must rise above divisions and send a clear message. The era of unaccountable leadership is over. For the past year, we in the opposition have worked together, with differences, yes, but always with a shared purpose, to serve our communities with honesty and courage. We've championed issues that matter deeply to residents. These weren't grandstanding gestures, they were grounded, sensible and backed by the voices of our residents. Yet, time and again, this administration turned its back. Motions passed in this chamber by a democratic majority were treated as optional, obstructed by arrogance and ultimately dismissed. Let's be clear, this is not how a democratic council operates. This is how a failing one survives. A recent and painful example is the veto of our Bulky Bob's proposal, a move that denied people a free collection service they had lost and desperately needed. Not because the plan was flawed, but because it came from the opposition. That act alone laid bare what this administration prioritises. Pride.
Sorry, I will not support any of these people.
Over common sense.
I will not support Pakistani sectarians. This man's brother is a convicted drug dealer.
Was extended, and that trust may
this man's brother is a convicted drug dealer. The way the Pakistani clans operate is that they have politicians on one side, businessmen on another, and drug dealers in the family. That's what happens, that's how these people operate. I won't support the Oldham group. They were kicked out. This man was kicked out of the Conservatives for anti-Semitism. I am nothing like these people, any more than I will support Arood Shah and her associates. No chance whatsoever will I support Arood Shah, Irish Shimmy, and the convicted gangsters and the heroin dealers who are torturers, who kidnap children. And on the other side, you've got this. This town needs reform. This town needs councillors like Lewis Quigg, Mark Wilkinson, Beth Sharp, if she has the courage and conviction, and Sandra Ball to cross the floor immediately after the summer, if not after this meeting, and form a reform group within the council. Take over the branch, clean up the branch, because that branch also is infested with racists. I won't deal with, the same way I won't deal with Islamists, I won't deal with racists in the same way.
I've had indications of people who wish to speak. Councillor Landani.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and on a personal level, I think you'll do a wonderful job as the Mayor, and I'm proud to have you there. So I'm a football fan, and one of the things you often hear about owners, we had one owner here, you get some good owners, but you get some not so good owners. As a City fan, we've had our fair share of not so good owners in the past.
So this is the Lib Dem. You don't want to listen to him. Assam Al-Hamdani. Every time they come forward, then they run away and be cowardly again. They had every chance to stop Aruj, stop Shelley Kipling from being appointed. They refused to support it, and they've voted through Shelley Kipling. Time after time after time, they get an opportunity, and they play both sides. The future of this town is not the Liberal Democrats, particularly when one of the Liberal Democrats that they kept hidden, the council kept hidden, the police kept hidden, until I released the information, a senior councillor was a convicted child sex offender. I'm not making any of this up. There is no need to make any of this up. Not one of them have condemned or questioned what took place there. They controlled the council during the time Shabir Ahmed was doing what he was doing. Not one of them has stepped forward and said, we were lied to, and someone needs to arrest people.
In the name of the leader of the council,
no.
Saying that they did not.
I won't support any of this. Watch it play out, and know that the future of this town is not the independents. The future of this town is not the Conservatives. I sure as hell hope it's not the Pakistani sectarians or the Labour Party. There's only one place we can go from here, and that's reform.
What Labour thought, but she is wrong to say that that comes from Oldham Council. She is wrong to say that that comes from the leader of the council, because this council was democratically voted in by those people, and this council democratically voted to leave. So if she wanted to represent that as herself, that's fine. But if she wants to say that the leader of the council and the council are against that, that is going against the democratic decision that all of us made. And I don't know whether, as an administration, you don't see the difference between those two things, or you don't care about the difference between those two things. But the Labour Party is not Oldham Council. The Labour Party is not the borough of Oldham. The Labour Party is a group that is temporarily in control of the council. And you should know the difference. You should respect democracy, and everything you do should enforce that. And what that letter showed me is that you're not doing that. And I can't stand up here and vote to say that you should continue in that role when you don't know that difference. When you don't know that you are not the most important people here, that the people of Oldham are the most important.
Here, here.
He's turned the mic off on purpose. He turned the mic off on purpose.
First of all, I'd like to thank Councillor Gafford for his Julius Caesar type speech. About 12 months ago, we took a leap of faith.
Nazi uniform wearer.
We took that leap of faith
Nazi uniform wearer who Zig heils in a council meeting.
Took a leap of faith to enter into a working arrangement with the Labour administration. And the reason we did was because we felt at the time there was no credible alternative. And since then, the so-called alternative has disintegrated even more, to such an extent they're openly row in this chamber amongst themselves. That is not the kind of future I want for this chamber. The thing that did it for us, the big test, was they couldn't even come together to form a single budget. At first we had the Lib Dems with their let's cancel mileage and save the council scheme. We had the Oldham groups plan to turn the Civic Centre into the biggest HMO going. And then we had the Conservatives who wanted to get rid of hard-working council offices to fund £1.5 million towards a private shopping precinct in Royton. Now, that's what was in your budget. Now, what I would say is,
he can't write his own motions. Never mind write a budget.
What I would say is,
I'd like
Now,
to see
what I
whether he
would
could
say is,
walk a
I
straight
didn't know
line.
Arusha. All I heard was the misrepresentations and hate speech out there on social media.
Oh,
But
here
I
we go.
believe, having known her for 12 months, she is the most hard-working individual in this chamber.
Gangsters mob.
She
Gangsters
donates most
mob.
of her life for the benefit of the people of Oldham. Even if you disagree with her policies, she's here till 10 o'clock at the night. She has hardly any social life. Sorry, Arun,
She
but
drives
that's a
around
fact.
in a Bentley.
All in
She
the
drives
service
around in a
of this
Bentley.
council. So to personalise this, which certain members tried to do, I think it's disrespectful. So we will once again be supporting the beneficial working arrangement for the people of Shaw and Crompton at the vote. Thank you.
Councillor Shuttleworth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've just picked up on a couple of the notes that Councillor Gaffour made in his introduction, and he made reference to buildings being handed to friends.
Well, they have been.
About any buildings being handed to friends.
They have
What
been.
I do know is
They
the
have
building
been.
wanted a piece of land being handed over, being gifted for a graveyard. Allow me to finish. I didn't interrupt you.
They have
and also
been
what I
proven
find-
time
when
and
we talk
time
about
again.
grubby deals,
Buildings
well, in
handed
2010,
over to Pakistani clans
the Liberals
that
went for
control
what you could call
votes.
a grubby deal with the
Proven.
Conservatives. Well, the Liberals and Labour both had 27 seats, the same as we have now. Now, if Councillor Sykes found it appropriate for him to continue as leader with 27 seats, then Councillor Shah has the right to lead this council when we have 27 seats. Those who decide who the administration is are the residents. It's at the ballot box that counts. Not what
We're going to
one
take you out,
individual
lad.
has to say in terms
Reform
of
are
their
going to
seeking
take you
power.
out.
And if
We're
you look
going
at
to
the
take
figures
you
last
out.
year at the ballot box,
The ballot
Labour had
box.
17,178.
We've reduced you from 47 to 27.
The next
You're
one
only
was
in
the
power
Liberal
because of
Democrats,
grubby deals with people who've
8,401.
betrayed the
And I
town.
think the Conservatives near
We're going to
8,000.
take you out at the
The
ballot
Oldham
box.
Group had 13,240. But 3 of those wards accounted for 56.15% of that total. And one of those, sadly, was a former Labour councillor who called it quits at the last minute. What is also distasteful when it comes to a vote of confidence is making contact with Labour Party members and former councillors, trying to stir them up to speak out against the current leader. I received a phone call on Sunday before anybody accusing me of making stories up. I received a phone call on Sunday from that individual. Now, when Councillor Alan Darney talks about PFE and the way this council voted, don't let's forget one of your own sat there and said, oh, just phone Angela up afterwards and tell her a letter's coming, just bin it. That was the view that was expressed. And therefore,
We can vote this man out. You can
you need
listen to
decide
him,
what you
talk
you
nonsense
know,
if you
for
want,
it or against it.
or you can accept
I'm
this.
surprised that the Liberals know what's happening.
To the 1,300 of you here, the majority from Oldham, I know. There's only one way we can beat this. The independents are finished. Go and vote Reform, go and join Reform, clean up the branch, clean out the racists, get the likes of Lewis Quigg, Mark Wilkinson, Sandra Ball
If anything's going
to
to
cross the floor,
it's at
form
the
a
ballot box
Reform
next
group,
year.
and in
the
May
people of Oldham
we can
determine
take 10 council seats
we shouldn't be
and become the main
them
opposition, and the
decide,
following year
not this
we can
chamber. Thank you,
control
Mr. Mayor.
the council. It's as simple as that.
At this point, I think we've heard both sides of the debate, so I'm going to call the debate to an end. And no,
People have a right to speak.
Do I get a right to reply?
there will be a right reply.
He has a right to reply. He has a right to reply.
I mean, what is it? Councillor Taylor, right to reply.
Well, no, we've indicated to speak.
There's quite a few indicated.
Oh, here he is. He ain't got a clue, has he?
Yeah, and I realise you've reserved your right. I do appreciate that, Councillor Jabbar. So you first then, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, we've seen this kind of motion before in this chamber, haven't we?
Abdul Jabbar cannot recall whether he gave a reference to Shabir Daddy Ahmed whilst he was mayor himself. It is easily proven by an audit of all the letters that went out from the mayor's office.
A vote of no confidence and supporting it, it's not going to change that matter. And you talk about the people of Oldham mentioned that they given you the mandate. The mandate you got with the defection, you've got 9 councillors out of 60. That's the fact. You talk about better suited, your group is better suited to run this council. At the budget meeting, you had no proposals at all for the revenue budget, which was the most important thing. Give credit to the other people. They did actually put something, and they actually did take it to the ONS meeting for it to be considered properly. What happened was, no
We clean up.
revenue budget was produced. And
We
you said
clean
you
up
can-
reform,
those
clean out the racism, and sorry, it is racist. The Oldham Reform Facebook page
The second
is
thing
full of
is
racist,
that you brought something in,
horrific racist
capital,
abuse.
which wasn't actually
We
worked
clean
out
up reform. We can
I
even
offered
beat
to work
Abdul
together
Jabbar the next
to
time
take
he's
that
up.
proposal forward if there was any merit
In his
it. Have we seen
cartel-controlled
anything? No. So again, your
centre
statement
in Coldust.
about better suited doesn't hold any water.
100%.
You say
We can
about
even take out
vanity
Jabbar.
projects. We've been commended for the Eco Park depot that we've done at the Alexandra Park. The only purpose-built, carbon-neutral eco
Oh,
depot
shut
in
up with
Oldham
your
and
net
Northwest.
zero shit.
You talk about vanity project. Is the Spindles, where we're going to host the market and the event space and moving this office and saving millions of pounds each year, is that a vanity project? Because if we hadn't done that, this town would be dead. So I don't think so. So again, your words and the action of this council doesn't actually match. Northern Routes, we managed to secure £13 million to build
13 million pound for something called
160
Northern
acre
Routes. They've got
space
2
where
schemes.
people can
They want to
grow food,
glamp,
leisure activities,
create a glamping site in Glodwick.
skills
That's
and
right,
so on.
glamping in Glodwick.
Mr. Mayor,
And they want to put
we managed
water
to
somewhere in the Snipe and create something called skinny dipping in the Snipe. That's what they want to do. That's what Northern Routes is. Some hippies from the south of Manchester have got themselves involved, siphoning money that should be diverted elsewhere in the town for their fantasy schemes of glamping in Glodwick and skinny dipping in the Snipe.
For the work that we're doing to take this whole agenda forward. I was in a meeting in the House of Lords on Monday, and at least 5 different partners were saying how well we're doing in this space. So, Councillor Ghaffur, your point about being better suited to run this council, we're doing vanity project, the people giving you the mandate, all of these points don't hold any waters. So I'm absolutely against this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, I mean, Councillor Ghaffur started off by talking about not making this personal. He talked about not making it about him. But it's almost a year to the day since Councillor Ghaffur stood up in this chamber and told all of us exactly the opposite. He said that he intended to make it personal when it came to Arooj Shah's leadership. And that is exactly what this amendment is about. Nothing more and nothing less. And obviously, I mean, in terms of some of the comments that have already been made, we've talked a little bit about the Oldham group, the fact that they consist of just 9 councillors. And in reality, you have no pathway to govern. And obviously from this amendment, you also have no serious plan to lead. This isn't a proposal for any form of progress. It's just a political stunt. And we've already heard about some of the unsavoury tactics that have been used to back this up. What I can say is in
Unsavoury tactics.
Oldham Group
How about following people home, Elaine Taylor? Who ordered Irish Imi to attack me, Elaine Taylor? Was it Arooj Shah
completely devoid. I mean, the
who
amendment
ordered
is for us for all to
Dale
see, and this
Cregan's
amendment is
getaway
completely
driver
devoid of any concrete proposal
to harass and
it offers
intimidate
no clear
opposition
alternative position. Now,
members,
Abdul has already
Arooj
talked
Shah.
at length about your lack to bring forward anything concrete for the budget, but the only thing that I can confidently say following that budget meeting in March is that the Oldham Group would be quite happy to set up the largest HMO in England in the Civic Tower, and that is quite frankly not our administration's aspiration, and it is not what we want to see for the borough or for our residents. And I do appreciate that personal ambition in politics isn't unusual, but I think this amendment shows that the Oldham Group is more interested in game playing than supporting the people of our borough. Why should we believe that Councillor Gafford would put the residents of Oldham first when he didn't do that with his own tenants? And, you know, you talk about integrity, honesty, openness. So let us be honest and open, because we cannot hide from the facts. And the facts are, Councillor Gafford, that you pled guilty to an offence under Section 30 of the Housing Act for renting out a property that was unfit to live in. Last year, Councillor Gafford, well, it's not personal, it's fact, it's on record. This is somebody who was putting in this, Mr. Mayor, I am responding to the points that was made, and the points that were made were talking about honesty, openness and integrity, and I think it is fair that I can respond to those points, Councillor Wilkinson, and that is on record. It is a matter of public record. But, you know, there's plenty of facts that are on public record. So last year, Councillor Gafford argued against the expansion of the selective licensing scheme, a scheme that was put in place to improve tenants' rights and to clamp down on rogue landlords who don't do what they should be doing. So is that in public interest, or is that in self-interest? Because I wouldn't know, because to be honest, his register of interests is totally redacted. So we don't know what his register of interests say. But what I can also say, no, because, you know, people want an honest discussion.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. You've given longer to Councillor Taylor than you have me, and I was the one that proposed the amendment.
Councillor Quick, will you stop interrupting, please? No, well, you could have fooled me. Thank you. The only fool here might be somebody who's talking before.
Ooh.
Look, Mr. Mayor, I will move on, but I do think it is important to get this in the public domain, and I do think it's important that if we want to have honesty, openness and transparency in this chamber, then we are allowed to actually state the facts. And so I will finish on this, because only a few weeks ago...
Excuse me again, Councillor Taylor. Could the Conservative group not be having private conversations while people are speaking? It's ignorant. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that vote of confidence, Councillor Woodvine.
I will tell other groups as well when I am
ready.
Well,
I think you're voting against because you've got an alternative agenda that isn't in the interest of our residents. Well, actually, if you want to vote for somebody to be lead with this council, who only a few weeks ago we had to remove 16 adults and 8 children from one of his properties because of the conditions he was living in, then you absolutely
Can I have a right of reply now, Mr. Mayor?
HMO.
Mr. Mayor, you know, to be honest with you, Councillor, she's going on longer.
I said I'm responding to Councillor Woodvine. I said that I wouldn't raise any more points. Well, actually, Mr. Mayor, I'm responding to people. People keep shouting out. I'm trying
slum
to be fair
landlord?
To
Would that be a slum landlord then?
Really?
With the councillor having to remove children from properties?
I'm not being fair, Mr. Mayor. I'm responding to the points that are being shouted at me across the chamber. I will refrain from making any more comments on this matter, but could I also ask people to stop shouting across the chamber? Thank you. But what we're discussing is important, because actually, if you're going to lead this council is responsible for housing standards and protecting residents. So what I would say to the other opposition groups who are being quite loud at the moment in this chamber, that in supporting this amendment, it shows that your principles also come a far second to political games, with the people of Oldham a distant third. But I will turn to the positives, because by contrast, Councillor Aruj Shah's record shows the complete opposite to those who have brought this amendment forward today. She not only regularly faces racist and misogynistic abuse, and as leader, she has faced credible threats to her personal safety. Yet, she continues to stand up for what is right and for the people of Oldham. And she delivers. Look at the improvement to children's services under her watch. Look at how the council's finances.
Please, time.
Sorry, I had 6 minutes, Mr. Mayor. It's a right of reply, and I have had to stop numerous times.
10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. But what we're talking about here is delivery. So look at the improvement to children's services under our leader's watch. Look at how the council's finances have been stabilised. Look at the regeneration that is moving forward in our borough at pace. Look at the jobs that have been created. Look at the improved attendance in our schools, recognised by the Children's Commissioner. All of this has been achieved with Aruj at the helm, and that's why we are being recognised beyond our borough's boundaries. Being shortlisted for the most improved council is a vote of confidence in our council, led by a leader who has delivered all of this. These aren't just talking points, they're proof of what can be achieved when a council governs with purpose, real integrity
Aruj Shah,
and ambition.
the Pakistani gangster-endorsed leader of Oldham Council, who hangs off the arm of the convicted heroin dealer and getaway driver of the cop killer Dale Cregan. A man who has been repeatedly convicted in court and yet enjoys the freedom of the council chambers. Walks around whilst the election is taking place, the vote is being counted, celebrates, fist pump like this, next to Aruj Shah, front page of the Daily Mail.
As has been said, and I would echo that, means more than chasing headlines. It actually means showing up. It means staying honest, and it means putting the people first. And that is what we've done, and that is what we'll keep doing. And there is just one point I do want to cover, because I think in relation to the places for everyone letter, which has been raised, again, colleagues around this chamber are fully versed on the leader and the administration's views on this matter. We were clear when we discussed it in the chamber, and the Labour position has always been clear. It has always remained consistent that we support Oldham being part of Places for Everyone. The Labour group didn't vote in favour of that motion. We did, as was instructed by this chamber. I would say as well there was a break with tradition, because normally what we do in this chamber, we ask the CEO to write, and actually they ask the leader.
6 minutes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Just 1 minute. I would appreciate it if people did not heckle and disturb when other members are speaking. It's not right, and I will be strict on that in the coming year. Thank you. Councillor Gafford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So many points that I've raised, I'm just flabbergasted. So I'll try and break it down and see where we can get it. I won't be long. I'll be short and sweet. I'm hoping so. The people that were removed from my premises on King Street, this was a lease with a temporary accommodation people at the council. So they had full control of it. They had control of the cleanliness, the maintenance of the property, and they were the ones that let it go down to the state that it was, and that's why they decided to refuse it. And I still think that might be a political move of getting residents out of my property because it's a personal attack on me. So I'm just making that very clear. It was a council's responsibility, the temporary accommodation department's responsibility to make sure that they keep that place safe for the people who are living there. And if there were any issues, we dealt with them. So that's on a personal level. And you are getting personal. I've never been personal with Councillor Aruj. I've not even mentioned her name once in my amendment. The way you speak, Councillor Shah, look, I'm not going to get into it again with you, yeah? The thing is, we know what it is. 45 councillors you had a few years ago, you're down to 27. And I'm telling you, in May next year, you'll be down. It was your leader. It's the Labour leadership. You are a collective. Councillor Shah, you lost another election before this. So whatever happens in this vote of confidence, I can promise you this, that next year this council will be completely different. The people on these benches, some of them, unfortunately, will not be here. And then we will decide. The way that you've dealt with this mayor and the deputy, not the mayor, sorry, the deputy mayor, you know, it's an absolute disgrace, Councillor Shah. You know, you shouldn't have done it that way. I had no power to offer anybody anything. There were people in the alliance that we are trying to create to get rid of your Labour administration because of your incompetence, because of the way that you are putting this council into debt again and again. It is in debt. It will be in debt very soon. It will be in debt very, very soon. Councillor Shah. This is the thing. And Councillor Jabbar mentioned the Green Initiative, and I was in that scrutiny committee, and when I asked the questions, how will it affect businesses? Businesses will be out of pocket because of that initiative. They may think that, they may nod their heads, you all may nod your heads. They will be out of pocket because I'm a businessman. I know how businesses run. And when you go from, anyway, whatever it is. So I think the people spoke at the ballot box last year. They decided, well, they did, didn't they, Councillor Taylor? Because a few of you are not here, are you? The ones that were last year. And you know, there are 9 of us.
Point of order,
so
Mr. Mayor.
You know,
Mr. Mayor, you've already indicated you're going to be harsh on people shouting across the chamber.
Please, could members please let Councillor Gafford speak without interrupting? Thank you.
And Councillor Shuttleworth, you said land for a graveyard. Are the Muslim population of this town, are they not members of our community? Do they not deserve land to be buried? Yes, they have land, but do they not deserve their own? Do they not deserve what they want? It was not a gift, it's the same gift that we give to all the residents of Oldham. So Councillor Shuttleworth, maybe you need to get your facts right. I'm not going to say much more, but what I'm saying is, vote with your hearts, especially the 4 independents. Vote today to do the right thing. Councillor Hint, you asked for the letter yesterday when we were in conversation. You've got the letter. The letter was addressed from Councillor Shah as the leader of this council. It's an affront to democracy. It is an, yes, you are the leader, but what the council decided, 31 of us, including Councillor Hint, including Councillor Navesy, they decided against places for everyone in Oldham.
You still do.
Well, if you did, then you make the right decision, because this councillor, this leader, wrote a letter to the government saying that, look, she still wanted it. So I'm leaving it with you. No, it is. And let the people...
Excuse me, can we not have, this is not a conversation across the chamber.
Let the people of Shaw decide your fate. Thank you very much.
Councillor Hint, did you want to just personal clarification?
I just want to clarify, our support to come out of PFE is unwavering, and the reason for the refusal was nothing to do with a political letter sent by Aruz Shah. It was as stated by the Minister, because there was no real justification, and I laid that blame with Howard Sykes, not with Aruz Shah.
Point of... Mr Mayor, that is not anything...
That's nothing to do with it. Yeah, please withdraw that, Councillor Hint, that last little remark. Please...
It's my personal view.
All
right. Sorry. I'll withdraw my personal view, but it is factual. It is
You're not withdrawing it then.
No, it's factual that the letter stated there was no justification. That's a point of fact. Okay.
So now we will move to the vote on the amendment. Recorded vote. We all understand what we're voting for. Just, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So this is the vote to remove Aruz Shah. The vote of no
Adams.
confidence in Aruz Shah.
Councillor Akhtar. Councillor Al Hamdani.
4.
Councillor Ali Moan. Councillor Ali Zahir. Councillor Arnott. Councillor Aslam. Councillor Azad. Councillor Ball. Councillor Bashforth. Councillor Bishop. Councillor Brownridge. Councillor Byrne.
4.
Councillor Charters. Councillor Chauhan Zahid. Councillor Chauhan Naveed. Councillor Cosgrove. Councillor Davis. Councillor Dean. Councillor Gaffour. Councillor Goodwin. Councillor Hamlet. Councillor Harkness. Councillor Harrison. Councillor Hince. Councillor Hindle. Councillor Hoban. Councillor Hughes. Councillor Hurley. Councillor Hussain Aftab.
Against.
Councillor Hussain Feeder. Councillor Hussain Junaid. Councillor Hussain Sajid. Councillor Ibrahim. Councillor Iqbal. Against. Councillor Islam. Councillor Jabbar. Councillor Kenyon. Councillor Cowser. Councillor Malik. Councillor Marland. Councillor McLaren. Councillor Murphy.
4.
Councillor Mushtaq. Councillor Nasheen. Councillor Navesey. Councillor Quigg. Councillor Rustage. Councillor Shah. Councillor Sharp. Councillor Sheldon. Councillor Shuttleworth.
Against.
Councillor Sykes. Councillor Taylor. Councillor Waheed. Councillor Wilkinson. Councillor Williamson. Councillor Woodvine.
4.
Mr Mayor.
Could I just make a quick comment, please, Mr Mayor? It's Councillor Gaffour here. Hello, hi. You okay? Sorry, yeah, just a quick one. Councillor Hoban, on the phone, when I asked him what he wanted, this is his reply to Councillor. Councillor said, what do you want for Failsworth? And Councillor Hoban said, F all, I want for Failsworth, what am I going to get? So this is the type of person, this is the type of person Councillor Hoban is. And that's what it was. And he is evident, he is witness to exactly what happened.
I have got to, Mr Mayor, I've got to respond.
Oh dear. Hoban said, I want fuck all for Failsworth. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Hoban, you convicted fraudster. What's in it for me?
An accusation that's just been levelled against me.
Convicted fraudster, Hoban. You're a convicted fraudster.
Councillor Hoban, speak, please.
Convicted fraudster. What's in it for me?
On an allegation against me, and I've got evidence that Councillor Gaffour did offer me this role. So, and you've denied it. You've denied that before. So you have offered me this role.
Councillor Gaffour.
I will say something else. I will sleep with full conscience after
Convicted
this vote.
fraudster.
You are aware.
You won't be mayor next year.
Convicted fraudster. What's in it for me? Fuck Failsworth. What's in it for me?
You are aware.
Stop.
Fuck Failsworth. What's in it for me?
Yes, please, leave the chamber. Thank you. If that's what you wish to do.
Councillor Gaffour and all the other leaders in this room are aware
Convicted
of a serious
fraudster.
safeguarding issue
Convicted
regarding
fraudster.
an elected member, and you've done
Convicted
nothing about
fraudster.
it. The members have done
Convicted
nothing about
fraudster.
it. There's only two
Convicted
people that have
fraudster.
done things about this.
Councillor Hoban.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Covering things up, hiding things, hiding a serious allegation.
Councillor Hoban.
Convicted fraudster. Oh my. Convicted fraudster. He should not be allowed to speak like that.
We're making it personal.
They're all walking out. Convicted fraudster. Convicted fraudster. Convicted fraudster. The working out. This meeting has descended into chaos.
Just let's see when it quietens down.
This meeting has he's convicted fraudster, has admitted he was offered a bribe, and he said, what's in it for me? Fuck Failsworth.
The amendment was lost. 28 in favour, 31 against. Thank you. Do people think we need an adjournment?
Move to the...
They walked
Carry
out.
on. Thank you. So...
The convicted fraudster is your next mayor. We should all go to his pub. We should all go to the Mayor and Fold to confront the convicted fraudster.
We have a vote on that, please.
Are you proud, Failsworth? Are you proud? I asked this question of the people before in Shaw, of the people before in other parts of the town who were involved in the cover-up the gang rape of children. Now I'm saying to you, are you proud that you've got a convicted fraudster representing you who sold you out and said, fuck Failsworth, what's in it for me? Are you proud of that? Are you proud, Shaw, of Markin standing up and defending this gangster's mole who is neck deep in the cover-up of the gang rape of children, who hangs off the arm of a convicted heroin dealer? And we now know the role heroin has played in the gang rape and trafficking of little white girls across the country by the Pakistani rape clans. Are you proud, Shaw? Yeah.
They've all committed to push harder and go further in our efforts to deliver for our residents. 2025, Mr Mayor, is going to be a huge year for delivery of this council. Yesterday, the Chief Executive and I were at UK Reef in Leeds talking to investors who are incredibly excited about what's going on in Oldham. In the next few weeks, we'll find out whether we've been successful.
The council has walked out. The majority of the opposition has walked out, but you can see the Lib Dems are still sat there, playing both sides. What should have happened is the Lib Dems should have walked out as well.
To the public and giving businesses in the area a much welcome boost of increased footfall. The new market will open in August, and I really
you don't want to listen to this crap.
Get over there and get into their new premises, and I know the traders feel the same way. This has been long, but not always an easy process.
So what's just happened is the council has descended into chaos, and you'll have to excuse me if I got emotional there.
So closely together, the footfall going through both will increase, and the spending will also follow.
Oldham is the most corrupt council in the country.
Very last show before the new event space opens up in September.
The deputy mayor is a convicted fraudster who just admitted to being offered a bribe, but instead of saying what the bribe for Failsworth, he said, fuck Failsworth, what's in it for me?
September's council meeting will be held in the chamber at the old library.
Can you still hear the council? Sorry.
I honestly can't wait.
I don't know why you can still hear the council.
To officially become the new.
There you go. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. You witnessed it yourself. To the 1,500 of you, this is better than a pantomime. And if it wasn't serious, it would be a pantomime. But unfortunately, this is my town. And I am here to fight for it. We supported the independents. We are responsible for reducing Labour's control from 47 to 27. The independents sold us out. Vote Reform. Join Reform. And it doesn't matter what the Reform leaders in Oldham say about me. I and the people of my town will mobilise, and we will vote out Arood Shah's corrupt, criminal, gangster-infested council, and we will safeguard our hometown from the Islamists and the Pakistani sectarians. There is only one hope now, and that is for Councillor Lewis Quigg to bravely leave a party he has been a member of for the best part all his life, all his adult life. Join Reform. Councillor Mark Wilkinson, Sandra Ball, you've lost in Failsworth. You've got a convicted fraudster that you introduced, Mark. Sandra, you introduced this man into politics. You have a responsibility to clean him out, to clear him out. Fuck Failsworth, what's in it for me? Staggering. Please join Reform. If you're in Oldham, if you're anywhere else, of course, join Reform. But if you're in Oldham and you want to save your town from this, if you want to save your borough from this, join Reform. Get to the AGM. Don't worry if they'd let you vote this time or not. Volunteer. Mobilise. Get behind the candidates and help clean up this town. We have a duty to lead by example. The epicentre of the fight back against the rape clans was from our town because of our campaigning, because of this. Because of this. I don't know if it's a blessing that Oldham has me, but it is what it is. I am of this town and I will fight for this town. please, if you find value in my work, sign up to redwallandrabble.co.uk. 1,500 of you have viewed so far today. The numbers are pitifully low. You can sign up for free. If you can pay the £3 or the £30 for the year and be done with it, I'm 100% funded by you. I'm not a HMO millionaire. I don't have friends who are convicted drug dealers who drive Bentleys. I don't come from that world. I'm sat here on my birthday with a jacket potato going cold in the air fryer that I'll be having for my lunch. And I'll be taking my daughter out this evening for a meal because some of you have kindly sent me some money over. So if you find value in my work, this is what I do. I will never work again in the sector I came from because I chose to make a stand against this corruption, this criminality and the cover-up of the gang rape of children. I will see this through if you see this through with me. So please do sign up to Redwall and the Rabble. And if you already are signed up, or if you can't commit to a paid subscription, it's just £3. Buy me a coffee. It's pennies to you. But if enough of you do it, it means everything to me. I will be back at some point. I may be back tonight, I think, to recap on what's took place and the fallout from what's took place. So I'll try and come back this evening at 9 o'clock. I'm on a train to London tomorrow because I've got meetings in London tomorrow because of this, because of what I'm doing. I'm in London on Friday. Again, everything I do is funded by you, supported by you. And I'll leave you with this. If I am not leading this, if I am not supporting you, then what hope do any of us have?
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.